timing, everyone. Would you look at that? I don't even have my headphones on yet, and that music cut out right at 7 o'clock on the dot in my drop top. Waiting on you. I don't think that's actually how the song goes. Let's get a little picture of me up on here. Everyone, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Brent Gill Show, a.k.a. Comedians in Quarantine, Smoking Chronic. We got a pretty cool episode for you tonight. And I think we have, I know I say that, every time that I log in here. But, I personally think we got a pretty good one. Our guest tonight is a gentleman by the name of Corey Knox. He is a comedian that's living in Nashville, Tennessee. I almost said Tennessee, and that's not a place. Nashville, Tennessee. And where's my handle? Sorry, I'm distracted as per usual. Shocker. The host who just said we're gonna smoke weed on fucking camera is distracted. Of course he is. Anyway, we have Corey Knox on the show. He is a comedian. He got started a little late in life in comedy, mostly because he was a D1 athlete. He signed a contract with the NFL with the Buffalo Bills. Some shit went down, and long story short, I don't think he ever got to play a full season with the Buffalo Bills. I could be wrong. That's what we're here to learn about together, everyone. We're gonna go on a little magic school bus journey, if you if you will. And I don't want to forget this microphone where it got all fucked up last time. So it's going to be really cool to talk to him. He's going to be Skyping in here in just a little bit, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. And in the meantime, I'd like to say, of course, thank you to all of our great sponsors, the people that help make this show go on in the middle of this quarantine. Right below us, these are all the local companies that support us. Big Top Studios, Terrapin Care Station, Pearl Street Dental. I'm not doing this correctly. And then there it is, Tommy Knocker Brewing, and of course, Pilsner Urquell. Thank you guys for supporting our show and supporting what we do here. I got to turn off the Wi-Fi on my phone. We're going to get a little choked up here once Skype gets going. Well, everyone in the room, hello, Magic School Bus Journey. That's right, Rachel. We are ready to do this. How is everyone's quarantine so far? I hope it's okay. People are going crazy out here in Los Angeles. I was talking to a friend of mine. He's a comedian. His name's Shane Moss, and Shane has a handful of scientist friends because he runs a great show called Stand Up Science. And Shane was talking to a bunch of his. This is a very fucking shitty way to start the show, but Shane was talking to his scientist friends, and some of which study pandemic reenactments. I don't think that's what it's actually called. Who does a pandemic reenactment? I don't think that's a thing. I think they speculate what's going to happen in pandemics, and so their work's getting put to the test right now. And he's like, this is going to go until the end of summer, and they're not going to tell us that we're going to be quarantined for that long, because people are going to start freaking out and getting angry and all that stuff, which is understandable. When I heard that, I got fucking angry, and I'm glad they didn't tell me. It was going to be 3 months probably on solid quarantine. So who knows what's going to happen. So I'm going to try to be here. I know I said I was going to try and be here every single day. Boy, did I bite off a bite that was bigger than I could chew. That's a lot of stuff to do when I'm trying to do some other things. There's a lot of digital pitches that are happening right now. Hollywood's changing forever, which is crazy, because normally I don't, Hollywood's been what Hollywood's been for as long as I have been conscious of what Hollywood was. And I I wholeheartedly believe it is about to change a lot. people are gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of people that move to the top, and some people that are at the top that are gonna get pushed back down, and it's just gonna be an interesting shift. So, what a time to be alive, right, everyone? What a fucking time to be alive. Who knows? I'm worried about live entertainment in general coming back and being a thing, or not being a thing. That's a legitimate fear of mine, that live entertainment might not come back how we knew it. Shit. Our world's gonna be totally different 6 months from now than it was 6 months ago, and there's nothing we can do about it. We just gotta sit back and fucking take it. So that was a nice somber way to start this. Rachel, how are you doing? Welcome. Yeah. Well, it's all right. I'm catching up on things. I don't know if we talked last episode about Tiger King or not. If we did, I apologize. I don't remember things very well. Shocker, I have a giant bong next to me filled with weed. I can't remember things. But I've been catching up on some TV, and Tiger King is quite a film. It's just, I didn't realize the big cat world was so crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like the big cat world is is just out there, just filled with a bunch of swingers, just hanging out, just banging each other. Like, I swear, it seems like one, for sure Carol fucking killed that guy. What a bitch. I knew from the moment I saw her. The moment I saw her on camera, I was like, I hate her. I don't want anything to do with her. and then the whole thing about her killing her fucking husband and possibly feeding the husband to the tigers, I was like, of course she did. She had no friends. She had no friends growing up. She even admitted. She said her only friend growing up was a fucking imaginary pickle or something. I don't know. I made the fucking pickle part up, but she made up an imaginary friend that was her only friend, and then she was picked on for her whole life, and this is her time to get back. So she lashes out at Tiger King, Joe Exotic, and then let's talk about this. Doc Antlers? Doc Ellis? Okay, hold on. What's his name? Tiger King, Doc. What's this motherfucker's name? Doc Antley, Antelope? I don't know. The fucking weirdo who's got fucking the weirdo who has 8 wives, 7 wives, girlfriends, because polygamy is illegal. Is he not the R. Kelly of the big cat world? Right? Like, I feel like all Doc is doing is he's capturing these young virgins, or virgin-ish, right? 18, 19 years old, gives them a good spot to live, kind of traps them there, brainwashes them, and then bam, they want to stay with him forever, and he's their girlfriend. That to me, that's some R. Kelly like level shit right there. And I think people get thrown off as they're not paying, like they get thrown off by his ponytail and think, well, this guy couldn't be gross or creepy. Here's the trick. It's the flavor saver right there that he had. The little soul patch. That's how you know a motherfucker's a creep. That's the dude, like I don't know anyone that sells GHB, like Rohypnol, the date rape drug. I don't know why I laughed at that. It's just a funny word to say. Anyone who sells GHB, in my head, I just imagine them looking like Doc Antley. I should probably figure this fucking thing out. I spent 9 hours of my life watching this fucking TV show. But yeah, that guy, it's crazy. Pretty much got the story from thousands of... Oh, Rachel, dude, it's fucking nuts, man. And here's the problem with everybody being quarantined is if you're not up to date on the TV shows, they're going to get ruined really fast. So I'm sorry that I just ruined it there. But yeah, no, she sucks. And it is funny to see all the people doing interviews with the Tiger King cast. I say it like it's a fake movie. It's a documentary, but they had Saf on there. They had the Doc on there. They had who's the weird swinger guy with the as I point to my bald head with a hat on it. That guy clearly seems like he's sponsored by Oakley. His legs are fucking toothpicks, by the way. If you don't watch my Instagram stories, first of all, what are you doing? Get on there. It's right there, at I am Brent Gill on the gram, and his legs are like little toothpicks. The dude that stole the zoo from Joe Exotic, and he just wears like 4 layers of Affliction t-shirts and hoodies. I don't like Affliction and True Religion. Sorry if I'm offending anybody out there. I walked into a True Religion outfit store place, whatever, at a mall one time, and I was like, whoa, this is not for me. I don't even think they have clothes. It's like the Abercrombie and Fitch for wannabe bikers. You know, like, oh, and I don't mean bicyclists. I mean motorcyclists. However, these are the motorcyclists that have a big fairing front end on their motorcycle there. That's exactly, they have like a CD player and like 5 speakers and a GPS and shit like that. I'm like, that's not a motorcycle. I used to have motorcycles. Motorcycles are supposed to be stripped down motorbikes, not a fucking cruise ship on wheels. You know what I mean? Get out. Anyway, welcome, newcomer. How are you? Welcome to the show. We're just talking about Tiger King a little bit. We were catching up on that and how Carol for sure killed his. It might be. Also, Carol, can we all agree Carol's probably fucking her husband, that new guy, right? Like, everyone else has fucking 3 boyfriends, 8 girlfriends, and then Carol's got her dude on a fucking tiger leash. Ugh, you know she's pegging him. That's just how it works. I'm sorry. He I would do anything for her. I'm sure you would, because you don't have a choice. You don't want to take it any harder. The Tiger King. Although I will say this, after watching Tiger King, I don't know if anybody else is in the same camp that I am, but pretty let down by my own cat over there at this point. You know what I mean? God, my beard is unruly. Look at how long it is. Gross. Ugh. Sorry, I'm not gonna shave it. It's my quarantine beard. Anyway, yeah. Every time I look at my cat now, I'm like, I just want a Black Panther or a fucking leopard. That's what I want. A fucking like my cat's such a letdown right now. After seeing what I could have a fucking liger. I always thought ligers were something that Napoleon Dynamite created. Turns out, nope. It's a real animal. That's what happens when you cross Joe Exotic with Doc Annaly. You get a liger. See, that's right there is what happens when you fuck a tiger. You get a liger. You know, it's like a tiger. It's weird doing what I think are jokes, more funny observations with no audience. I hope y'all think it's funny. But yeah, I don't like. I liked Tiger King. I thought I don't like Carol. Fun thing. We already watched McMillions. I don't think we talked about McMillions. But if you haven't seen McMillions, Rachel, if you haven't seen McMillions, I'm about to ruin it for you. So, earmuffs, I think is what we're looking for. But the McMillions is a fantastic documentary. I think it could have been done in 2 less episodes, like 2 hours shorter than it really was. But it's about how the McDonald's Monopoly game from back in the day was all a scam, and it was all fixed, and there's one dude at the heart of it, Uncle Jerry. Definitely check that one out if you haven't seen it. Eh, shit. Thank you, Rachel. I feel like it was still funny. What were we talking about? I totally forgot. Something about that. I have a story that I want to share with you guys. I haven't put this into a joke yet, but it's definitely an interesting story about how I bought and returned cocaine in Dallas. Yeah, that's all true. I bought and returned cocaine in Dallas, and I lost a viewer. Okay. They're like, cocaine, I gotta go. Well, if you don't like that, you're gonna hate my stand-up chunk. So, I can't even spell welcomed correct. God, I'm a fucking idiot. All right, let me try to get this. This is what happens when you do things too quickly. Vector tool. Type welcome to the show. There we go. Sorry, everybody. I'm a one-man band here. So I was in Dallas, Texas. This was over 4th of July weekend last year. Remember when we had summer and we could travel everywhere we wanted to? 4th viewers back. What's up? It's funny how many repeat views I get, but I do not. Not a lot of people are like, oh, we got to stream in. We have to tune into something. Not a lot of people like timing shit. So anyway, I'm in Dallas, okay? And 4th of July weekend, we're flying down, and I get stuck because United is a horrible airline, and I get stuck in Dallas-Fort Worth, all right? Now, I didn't technically miss the flight. They closed my gate door early. Huge pain in the ass. Big dick move. And they wouldn't let me on the airplane. There's a few of us that missed the flight. So they give us vouchers for hotels, vouchers for some food, and which, by the way, I like how they give us a $25 voucher when the food, each meal is $30 at a fucking. It's so aggravating, and especially when it was their fault. It wasn't my fault. And I'm bitching at them. I'm like, yo, it's the holidays. Of course, they're people are going to be fucking late. What are you doing here? And so anyway, so we get me and I meet up with this random girl who was also going to Florida as well. And she lives in Long Beach, the LBC, right? And so we're chatting, we're hanging out, and then we're in the airport still. We're talking to the bartender there. We're like, all right, well, what do we do now? I don't want to stay in the fucking airport, spending all my money here. So he tells us there's a bar about 10 minutes down the road. Great deals, and fucking A. When they said great deals, I forgot I was in Texas. I mean, we're talking $2 shots of Hornitos and $2 Lone Stars. We got very drunk, right? Me and this stranger having a great time, talking about things, and then she's like, we should do some cocaine, and I was like, yeah, my man, why not? My inhibitions are limited right now, and so I go. This sounds fake. But if you know me and you know how I operate, then you know this is as real as it gets. I literally go up to the first person I see, the busboy, who looks like they would know or have, and I was like, "Hey man, we can get any blow?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, I gotcha." I was like, "Wait, what? It was that easy?" So we gotta wait till they're because he doesn't want to do it on the clock. Okay, so we gotta wait until they're closed up. He takes us to my hotel and breaks us off a gram and then starts doing blow with us, right? And he gave me the gram, and then he started cutting off his own lines, right, with his own stash. And then we're just doing his shit all night long. And then 5-6 a.m. rolls around. I'm like, yo, I got a flight I gotta get on. I don't need this. I'm not going to travel with this right now. I was planning on leaving the remainder as a tip for the the cleaning service. And so I told him, I was like, I don't need this this gram. Like, I don't know what to do with it. And I go, can I like, because it was $60 because we're in Texas, real cheap. And so I go, can I give this back to you and you give me like $20 back? And he goes, oh, fuck that, dude. Gives me $40 back and then gives me a ride to the airport. Okay, if that's not top-notch service, I don't know what is. I give this guy a 5 Coke Rock Yelp review. You know, this guy, if I could write him a letter of recommendation for other people for when he gets arrested, I would be like, Your Honor, I know he's selling drugs, but still a pretty good guy. All right, just willing to give to the community, willing to give to other Samaritans. That's a 100% true story. I don't know what kind of life I live. Next episode, we'll talk about how I am the owner of about how my X5. I have a BMW X5, and I got it for super cheap, really good shape, good mileage. And I found out it was an old cartel car. How? I'm sorry, how did I find out? Well, I was sitting in the back of a K9 unit in Utah when it all started. So maybe we'll talk about that next time. I'll make a little note to talk about that cartel car. Well, yeah, so I also think that story about Dallas, about buying and returning drugs, is perfect. It's a perfect way to shoehorn into our clip tonight, and by our clip, I mean my clip. This is one of my favorite jokes. It's a true story. You can look it up. Happened in the UK. The dude's name is actually going to be in the clip, so you can see his name if you want to look it up. But it's a drug it's a drug clip, but it's very funny, and so I hope you enjoy it. Let's pull this bad boy up. And this was shot a couple months ago, late last year at the Comedy Store in La Jolla. And I was working with Josh Blue out there. And great club, by the way. I will say this. Comedy Store La Jolla is fucking great. The condo is dope. And, you know, I'm a big fan of that club. The Comedy Store in general is hard to get into, especially the one in Hollywood. But when you get to work at the one in La Jolla, at least they made it pretty nice. So if you are in the area or if you are in the southern part of California, make sure you check out. That's down by San Diego. But this is it's just a great spot to go and tell jokes at. So this is a clip from there, and while this is playing, I might not get back in time, but I hope I will. I gotta go. I stole my neighbor's lighter, and it was the only lighter she had. So I gotta go drop off those lighters because I'm gonna give her an extra one. Enjoy the clip, and then once we come back, we're gonna get Corey Knox on the phone or on the Skype, and it'll be dope. All right, everybody, here you go.
And I read this news story recently that might be the funniest thing I have ever read. It's about a 24-year-old dude in the UK that gets arrested for starting fights outside of the Home Depot, totally naked. Okay, the cops get called, the cops wrestle this guy to the ground, and while they're processing him, they notice that he has a corner of a plastic bag emerging from his foreskin. You thought it was an ass joke, didn't you? Yeah. You thought it was coming out of the butt. I did too. I'm reading the article like out of the butt, out of the butt, out of the... What the fuck? The old switcheroo? He moved it up front. He's like, hell yeah, dude. Cops are gonna find it up there. So, upon further investigation, which I can only imagine happened after a hearty game of rock, paper, scissors. They discovered this guy was hiding 7.2 grams of cocaine under his foreskin. Okay, hold up, time out, says the dude with foreskin. Actually have. That's like 5 skin at that point. That is so much cocaine. And it, okay? So I'm having a hard time trying to wrap my head around this situation. But I do have a lot of experience with 7.2 grams of cocaine. And that's a golf ball of cocaine. This dude's dick had a Major League Baseball dip in. That's how much cocaine was in the tip of his penis. And I'm reading this article, I'm like, what is foreskin material made out of exactly? Is it chipmunk cheeks? Is that what it is? Get it in, get it in! Like, hell yes. I want that. I want that back so bad. I am mad at my parents for taking that away from me. They stole that from me. My body, my choice. Okay, sorry. With my own little marsupial pouch, you know what I mean? Like, even as an adult, I'd be putting shit up there. It's just like you go to the gym, you're like, ooh, where am I gonna put these keys? Oh, I got it. Right there, hell yeah. Let's go lift, it's leg day, bro. I just want to be the most popular dude at the music festival, you know? Like, everyone's like, yo, that guy's got the best blow. But you gotta get it. So, hey, my name is Brent Gill. Thank you guys so much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, buddy. That's me. I love that joke. It's an old one, but a good one. That's a true story, too, by the way. I think that's so nuts how much fucking shit that guy put into his... Anyway. All right, well, I hope y'all are ready for it. We're going to get Corey on the horn here, so I'm going to get a little pleasant music to put behind, some bongo madness to put behind us. And we'll see you guys in just a second. The music just stopped.
Perfect, dude.
All right, well, I wasn't as ready for this as I thought I was. Here we are,
Oh,
we're live.
Fuck.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, pal? Good to see you.
Dude, damn good to see you too. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Happy quarantine.
I'm enjoying this shit, man. I live with two musicians. It's great.
What are you doing right now to keep yourself entertained?
I don't know if I could say it, but I think we all know.
What are you jacking off all the time? Because I am too. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure I've seen all the porn on the internet.
Here's the thing. There's got to be like a demand for it now. You know what I'm saying? Like the porn stars are not quarantined. They're like, we got to keep this shit going. It's like toilet paper right now, you know?
Dude, Pornhub offering their services totally for free.
Yeah, I know.
That's just Pornhub Premium, which, by the way, just
great?
makes me realize that they're the greatest company in the world. All they want is an email address, and you get it all.
And you get everything.
Why not?
Which is beautiful. Yeah, why not? We're fucking all gonna die soon. So yeah, fucking who cares?
We might as well die in pleasure. You know what I mean? That's what
Honest
I'm saying.
to God, man.
What's the weirdest thing that you've been cooking? Like, are you having weird like food? Because you just have shit in your refrigerator?
Well, I used to cook like that anyways. I would just walk in and you know, I would be like, I watched Chopped for like 2 years straight. So like every time I'd walk into my kitchen, I'd just be like, oh yeah, I could fucking do this. And it would always taste awful. But the process was like, oh yeah, I could make something. It's not going to taste good, but I'm going to do it. And I think I did that all the time. So I have no problem doing that. But I've been doing some good steaks. I've been doing some Brussels sprouts. I've been just mixing it up, dude. I put the trail mix on my Brussels sprouts last night.
Like Chex Mix type trail mix?
No, like cashews, chocolate chips, fucking craisins. It was good. It was good. I melted them in, and then I put like spicy like seasoning on top, so it was like the sweet and the spicy. It's pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah. What's the weirdest thing you've had, man? What are you?
I think the weirdest thing I've eaten is what did I have? I had now I'm trying to think of it. I had hoisin sauce mixed with sweet Thai chili sauce, mixed with on some brown rice, normal start.
Mm-hmm.
and then I put smoked salmon on it, and it was disgusting.
Yeah. It sounds terrible.
I don't know what I was thinking. I really don't. It doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
No.
But
I feel
it
like
was
smoked salmon you just pick at like when you're just in the room. It just stays there. It's warm for like a week. And whenever you're like stoned, you're just like, it's whatever. It's smoked.
it's been
It's
eating
it
some
can last
salmon. Yeah.
forever.
I'm a big fan of like bagel and lox, like I've
Yeah.
been doing a lot of that. I tried to cook some, so I'm the master of reheating shit. I don't cook anything.
Yeah.
My neighbor, she cooks so good, and she's got all these food allergies, so she like has to cook good, because she'll
Yeah.
die otherwise. And she fucking had a she made this mushroom taco like mushroom asada type thing,
Ooh.
and it was so good.
Yeah.
And then I tried to make it, and it was so fucking bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. And I put all these ingredients in there. Put a bunch of bell peppers and onions and shit like that. I'm
Ooh.
just fucking, and it was bad. It was
It
like
was,
I
it was
I didn't eat. I took
rancid.
3 bites and I was like, I'm out. This is not.
I'm
I
out
don't
of
know
my
what you
own,
did.
like, yeah. That's fucking great, dude. Well, we're
What
gonna
TV
keep
are you
trying.
watching?
What?
What TV are you watching? What shows are you watching?
Oh shit, man. I think see the weird thing is I'm not like I don't know, for whatever reason I haven't been like a big TV guy over the last like 4 or 5 years, I would say.
Well,
So
now's your
like
time to come back out of the
it,
out of retirement.
it really is. And I mean, obviously watched Tiger King. That was, that's a must see, I think. What else have I been
What did you think
watching?
on because we were talking about Tiger King, and what what are your thoughts on old TK?
Dude, I mean, it's got everything you want.
It
It's got
really
love,
does.
it's got drama, it's got comedy. Like it really is a like I heard someone try and knock it the other day. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like the Forrest Gump of like reality, documentaries. It's got a little bit of everything. And at the end, I mean, it's not a good ending, but
No, it was
it's
kind of a boring.
very
I feel like he should be dead. I was kind of hoping Tiger King
yeah.
was going to be dead, and he's just like, it's like they didn't know what to put out because the story wasn't finished yet, and they're like,
Yeah.
well, this is good enough. He's in jail.
He's in jail. Honestly, what I want to happen, when he does get out, because eventually I think he might some way somehow, like California Innocence Project or something will grab onto him.
Wait, he's not in jail here in Cali, is he?
No. I'm just kidding. Because I watched Brian Banks' film the other day. I was actually an extra in that movie, and I watched it for the first time. And the whole premise is the California Innocence Project like takes all these cases, and I didn't know that it was that extensive, but.
His name's what? Brian Banks?
Yeah, it's actually a really great movie. It's about a guy who he was the number one college football recruit in the country. Pete Carroll had him coming to USC. Like he was in the books. Like everyone was like, oh yeah, he's going to be the next great NFL linebacker. And he got falsely accused of rape, lost all his scholarships, and like battled back in the California Innocence Project. It's a really wonderful movie, and
And this is on Netflix or what?
it was on Hulu, I believe. Okay. It's on one of the platforms, but it was a big. Morgan Freeman was in it.
Wow.
Gary Kness was in it. Like it was a big time movie.
It looks like he was out here. I'm gonna pull up his this window capture here. It looks like he was out in.
About the story, the back and forth of it, and it's mind blowing what happened to this guy and how he was able to just continue to push and push. And I mean, people know the story if they see it or they're familiar with it, but he ends up fighting his way back onto playing in the NFL after losing all of his college eligibility, going to prison he went to prison for 6 years, dude, and got out and like proved his innocence to the point where when he was when he they took all of they obviously like pardoned him and everything, and he gets Pete Carroll to call him back when he's with the Seahawks and give him a tryout after 11 years. It was like 11 years of not playing football.
Jesus.
Yeah, man, and then he makes it on the Falcons for a year, dude. It's like It's nuts. It's
Wow.
nuts. Yeah, that guy. You
So
know.
your backstory here is that you played D1 ball up in
Yeah.
Buffalo,
Hmm.
and then went through kind of some levels with NFL,
Yeah.
and things didn't work out. So you know this industry rather well. Are you before we dive into your story? Was that a thing that you were? I know if I take like a girl home on the road, which to be honest doesn't happen as much as I would like it to, but I am constantly scared of that they're gonna that like oh well, why he raped me. I'm like I'm too big of a pussy to do that. Uh,
Yeah.
is that something that when you were going through college football, did that and even into the NFL like are all of these things talked about?
No, I mean, I think my story or my like take on the whole thing is that there's more of it happening to the girls in a legitimate fashion
Okay,
than the other way around. I mean, you hear some cases like the Brian Banks case was just absolutely extreme, and it does happen. The false accusation does happen, but I believe that it happens overwhelmingly so much the other direction,
okay,
especially with college football guys. Like
really?
the dudes think they could do whatever they want. Like like, I'll tell you who can't take rejection. It's a star college football player, bro. It's like I wasn't a star college football player. I walked on my senior year, but I saw the guys that thought that they could do whatever the fuck they wanted. And like I didn't like any of them. I didn't get along with them. I hit them extra harder in practice because I didn't like them. It was
Wow.
motivation. But I think that for me, I knew it could happen where you get, in a situation like that. And it's unfortunate. But I don't know, man. I do think it's a real thing, but very extreme cases. So I would always like not
Error
like
on her
yeah.
side.
I would not like I would think about the guys that I could see doing that and actually like trying to get away with it like in a real fashion. So that's where I think more of like you know like that's a legitimate thing to happen more often, and that
Right.
pisses me off. That enraged me, and it still does.
Ugh. Is it more common than we hear about?
I think so.
Like
I
in college
think
sports, do you think?
yeah. I think that like I don't know. There's a certain level of arrogance, there's a certain level of like control and power. Not. I don't want to peg every athlete or every college football player, every NFL. There are great people all the way up and down, but
Sure.
it is easy to let that star mentality kind of take over. I think, and I think some guys just aren't equipped to like handle rejection or not be told they can do whatever they want. And I never got along with guys like that. I still don't, even in this industry in whatever we're doing. I
Oh
never
yeah,
got
there's
along
a
with people
handful
like
of
that.
those dudes in
Oh,
this
dude,
industry too. It, it,
hell
it
yeah,
it is
man.
kind of the same thing. That, like the star comedian doesn't want to be told no. He doesn't want rejection.
Yeah,
He's like,
of
I'm
course.
a star.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. I think that about me all the time. I'm like, I'm a star. They should be throwing themselves at me.
they
I
should,
don't
man.
get it. I don't
You
get
should be
it.
getting that ass thrown at you, dude. I'm here to tell you, man. I agree.
Well, so Corey, to tell us so you're a comedian now. You kind of
Mhm.
got a late start in comedy.
Oh yeah.
You're mid 30s or early 30s
I,
right now.
I just turned 30 this year.
Oh, so you're 30 years old even.
Hmm.
Um, and and you went and played. So where are you from? How did you get?
Yeah.
What was the recruiting process like? And then kind of what happened with the NFL? Because you told me the story, and it seems like it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
seems like
It's
you got boned pretty hard.
yeah, man. Here's the thing though, that's just life. And that's what I've always realized is like no matter your situation, no matter what you think the worst thing could possibly be happening to you, either someone's already went through it to a certain degree or someone has it way worse than you. We just don't have, like there's nothing to relate it to. So whenever something uniquely bad happens to us, we all think we're the only ones. Like that's just a
Sure.
common human thing. And I just started to realize that, it did suck and it was horrible. And I still think about it, sure. But it's just called life, and
Right.
it's really a story. It kind of
That
comes
wasn't your
full
calling,
circle.
maybe.
Yeah, well, or maybe, my brain didn't need to get beat up anymore. Maybe I didn't start with that much,
Oh,
so I
that's
didn't
on the
need to
list of
continue.
questions to ask about
Yeah.
concussions
Oh,
and shit.
yeah. The comics in Nashville answer that one for you. They,
Do you feel like you have taken like it's taken a toll? Just because I played when I was young, I played from like fifth grade all the way through high school.
yeah,
And I can say I've had some fucking green fucking stars exploding head to head. Because back then they taught us the
yeah.
triangle method. You hit
Oh,
with the
yeah.
top of your head and your fucking, or like the
Yeah,
forehead and your two hands, and that's just all head shit.
yeah.
So,
That's just being
are
a man, you know?
that's right. Like, quit being a pussy. If you see stars, you're hitting them
Yeah,
right. It's
exactly.
that kind of shit.
Yeah,
Does that
yeah.
scare you?
I mean, I think it does, and I think it affected me in a little bit. I think my neck. I think I have issues with my neck because of how I played, because I was reckless with my head and my body. But I
Yeah.
don't think like overall like CTE things that you hear about. I don't like get headaches. I don't have really like any memory. I think I probably have more memory loss from like drinking and starting to smoke pot and stuff like that. I think that's affecting me more. I don't, but I only, like I said, I only played 1 year of college ball. So I don't, I played all through high school, played my senior year of college. So I don't have like a ton of, some guys played 4 years of high school football, and then, you know, 4 years, 5 years potentially if they redshirt of college football.
Right.
And like, dude, I played with some dudes that like they had 8 concussions by the time they were a senior. And you're going,
Jesus.
holy fuck, and like, do you even want to play football after that? Like,
Right.
because I have a friend of mine who he couldn't go a day without having a headache. He would
Ugh.
forget shit that he knew like the back of his hand normally, and that's just a guy graduating from college.
And that was from God damn. That was just
Yeah,
from college. Wow.
yeah. We were a generation of kids that were taught like, you know, you just fucking play as hard as you can. You don't worry about those things,
Right.
and
You
that's
play
how you're.
through pain. You play through
Yeah,
pain.
that's
Yeah.
how the game is supposed to be played, and I get that, but for some people that I couldn't imagine going through college and then like, say you decide not to try and play professionally, and then you just have this brain that's mush. It almost forces you to try and play.
Right.
So no, but
It's a
I don't
vicious
think I
cycle.
ever had like serious shit. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm fucking 30, so
Sure.
maybe, but
You got plenty of time. You got
I
plenty of
got
time
some
to go
time.
psychotic.
Yeah, it could happen. I mean, I don't think going and delving into stand-up comedy is helping my sanity at all either. I don't know if I can tell you that.
Probably not a good career choice. This is,
No.
as I've always said, the best worst life decision you could ever make.
Yeah,
There's
I
nothing more
agree.
fun than it. There's nothing
I know.
better. But
No,
there's
I love.
nothing
Yeah,
worse. Like my dad last night was like, he's telling me, he's like, I don't particularly like you doing comedy. I support it, but it's bad for you. It's bad on your body. You have bad hours. You don't eat well. You don't
it's true.
exercise. And I'm like, I mean, I would probably be like that if I worked at Apple. So
Yeah,
I think it's a more me thing than a comedy thing.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean you nailed it, because it is like when you can go into a room and have a great set and change the way people think and feel after that night. You have an impact on another human or a group of humans. Like that
Right.
is you don't get much better than that in life.
Right.
No, it doesn't matter if it's this is where it comes full circle for me. It doesn't matter if it's sports. It doesn't matter if it's entertainment. It doesn't matter if it's like how you volunteer and help people. When you get that reaction out of people, it is the sweetest thing in the world. Now, when you don't and you put yourself out there, that's the fucking other end of it, where you're like, fuck, this is the worst thing ever. But you balance it out, dude. So,
Oh yeah, it can be pretty brutal.
oh yeah.
But all right. So where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Buffalo, New York.
Oh,
Whole
you
family's,
were so
yeah,
that was your hometown.
yeah, man. Which
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah, which made it all the more bittersweet,
Oh
because when you do get cut from that team, you still live in the city. You're still
you
from there.
can't go home.
So you're constantly reminded of your failures. For like a year and a half, I'm sitting there like every time I see someone, they're like, man. And then, but
Fuck.
some people were like, I knew you couldn't do it.
Oh ouch. Like
Like my
just to your
grandma.
face. Oh
Well, this one,
really?
yeah, my grandma. Yeah,
Jesus, what a bitch.
no, she was cool, but it is like that. So, but yeah, I grew up in Buffalo. My dad worked at the stadium, You
Okay.
know, so
Oh,
he would
cool.
he would get us into games all the time, and we would fucking grew up watching the Bills. I was born in '89, right before '90 they go to the Super Bowl, and I remember I don't remember the games, but I remember the feelings after the four Super Bowls and losing them. Like the
Yeah.
adults were not
Have
happy.
you ever won a Super Bowl?
No, man, we lost four in a row. Yeah, four in a row. And come to find out, it's funny because a lot of people don't know this. They're like, "How did the Bills lose four in a row?" And it's like, it's because it was like the late '80s, early '90s, and they were just getting fucked up before every game.
Oh,
Because
really?
the Super Bowls were in like Miami and like all these nice places, and then you got a group of dudes that are living in Buffalo, New York, and then they go to then they're in Miami for the Super Bowl. What?
That makes
I
total
can't believe,
sense. That makes
bro. I
total
can't believe
sense.
they didn't. They even had a game. The fact that they even had a game is like amazing. That the players were there for it. That's what I don't think people realize. Like, yeah, of course these guys are in the coolest place they've been in fucking 3 years. They're all millionaires now. Yeah, they were doing they were doing lines off the fucking bench, dude. They didn't give a fuck. Bruce Smith had a heart attack at halftime. They brought him back with the defibrillator, dude. That's what
Did,
happened.
did they have like control? Do pro coaches have control over your life like they do in college?
I mean, it depends on what organization you're in. I know guys who played for the Patriots, and they're like, "Man, you're either absolutely 100% in, or you just shouldn't be there." I know guys that like wanted to go there to win a Super Bowl, but then they realized how fucked up it was to like not ever have fun while playing a game that you're supposed to kind of have fun playing. So they're like, "We're out," and they fucking left. I but then you got a coach like Rex Ryan, who was very much so a player's coach, where you could do whatever the fuck you wanted, and that's where you watch his teams. They're very undisciplined. They lead the league in penalties every year, and so it depends on the coach.
I mean, it definitely
But
seems like if you take away their freedoms and their joy and their,
there's
sense
got to
of
be a
anything
balance.
cool, that
Yeah,
you would win what 13 or fucking what is it 6 Super Bowls, something like that.
yeah, oh
It's
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
yeah. That's all you focus on that and that only. It is winning. That's why they win. Did they cheat a little bit? Absolutely.
Of course they
Whatever.
did.
They're
They
fucking
cheated a
assholes.
lot of
But
it.
a lot of it, I agree. But they also do work really hard. That's where it's like I hate them and I always have, but I am always like, oh, their players work that much harder. They do that much extra work. That's why they are always there. Now, I think the cheating comes in to like a little bit get them over the hump, but I don't know. Fuck them.
Who's your favorite team? Is it still the Bills?
Yeah, it still is, man. I don't.
Really? It's hard to
I
get that
like.
out of your blood when you
Well,
grew
yeah,
up with it.
like I said, you grow up with it. My dad worked at the stadium. I dreamed of going and playing at that stadium and running out of the fucking tunnel. And even playing, like I wasn't like a blue chip recruit out of high school. I was a little bit young for my grade. I was a little bit undersized to play linebacker, so I didn't get any college scholarships for football. I had a lot of walk on offers, and I had a lot of places that were like you could walk on, and maybe if you get a little bit bigger, you'll be able to play and earn a scholarship. But I took a track and field scholarship my
Oh,
senior year. Yeah, I was a state qualifier, took fifth in the state my junior year, and shot put and discus, and just was like,
whoa!
yeah, I went where like the financials. I didn't come from like a rich family or anything, so I was like, I'm going to get my education paid for. So I took a scholarship and did track and field. But by the time I was a senior, I was big enough and strong enough to, I thought, play football at the
Yeah.
university. And I thought that my junior year, but they wouldn't let me on the team. Like I literally had to bag my way onto the team my senior year. Um,
A real
Before
Rudy
that,
situation.
oh, dude, it was like a lot. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. Like it's like it's not like I just like was there and they're like, oh yeah, this guy. It was like it took me a whole entire year of harassing grown men that were football coaches. Like I had all their emails, dude. I was texting them. I was like a fucking crazy ex, dude. I was like on these dudes, right? I really was because I wanted to play that bad. I was like, dude, I'm big enough, I'm strong enough. I know I can play at the University of Buffalo, and I know I can make a difference. I was like, I don't care if you want me on defense, offense, like wherever the fuck you need a football player. I'm going to go there and I'm going to literally give you everything I have because I'm from Buffalo. It's been a dream of mine to play Division I football my whole life, especially at my hometown team. And finally, begrudgingly, the head football coach, Jeff Quinn at the time, great guy, eventually became a better guy. But like, I'm sitting in the office and, he's been denying me for a year and I'm just sitting there waiting every day. I did my track and field practice. I did my workout and then I go and sit in the football office and I just fucking wait, man. And finally one day it's getting real late. He's got a long day. And he goes, at the end of the day, he goes, all right, come in. I just hear his fucking voice because his office was like a couple doors down. He goes, all right, get in here. What do you want? He had this deep voice, crazy intense guy. Fucking hilarious, dude, a character. Holy shit. Thinking back, I can't believe I don't talk about this on stage. This dude's a fucking maniac.
I picture him with a big old cigar in his mouth.
Oh,
that's like
absolutely.
Gone out, but he's just chewing on the end of it. All right, dude, kid, come in.
Dude, that's literally everything minus the cigar because he couldn't. But if he could, he would have a cigar in his fucking mouth. Just like middle-aged Irish guy, just always red, always intense, just fucking like just looking like he's ready to fucking go at all times, dude. Either he's ready to go or have a heart attack at any moment, and none of us knew what it was, so it was frightening. But he finally got me in the office and said, all right, tell me your story. Tell me what you're going to do for this university. And I fucking told him, man. And then he told me about his life, and we had like a bonding thing, and he's like, all right, you're getting a shot. He goes, but I looked into it, and you've got to forfeit your track and field scholarship just to walk on.
I was going to ask you that.
Oh,
wow.
Fuck.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
It's because I was a partial scout. Track and field didn't really give out full scholarships because they weren't a fully funded program. So they would break up their scholarships and give them individually. So I was at about a 50% ride plus books. So I was getting half off college, books, and I was like, I want to do anything I can to play on this football team. And he goes, well, you're going to have to give up your scholarship. So I gave up 50%, 50 to 60% and books just to walk on. And he goes, we don't have any money. He goes, we don't have any money. I'm just letting you know that. And
he was born looking like that baby
dude,
from Roger Rabbit.
He really was. So I forfeit go to the financial aid office, forfeit all my shit. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to play on this football team and I'm going to make them better. I'm going to do everything I can. And the first day in pads, like we obviously did 2 weeks of no equipment. The first day in pads, I went from the third string fullback to the second string fullback. The second day in pads, I was like, I was fourth, then went to third. Then the second day I went from third to second. And then the last day of pads, I remember we're doing drills and I was playing, they put me in at like fullback. And they were like, we're just doing drills with the quarterbacks, like just fit up drills. And I'm fucking whacking people. And
everyone
I'm fucking just,
hates you.
Dude, oh my God, everyone hated me. And, but the quarterbacks coach looks at me after I just rock someone on offense, and he goes, you're on the goddamn wrong side of the ball, son. And then he goes, you should be playing defense. But that's what you want in a fullback. Like the fullback is the most defensive player on offense. If you could put it, you're just fucking there to destroy. And so after that last practice, we did a live scrimmage. I was the first string fullback. And the first play that I ever had in our live scrimmage, they lined me up on the left side against Khalil Mack. And we ran power to the left side. 46 was his number. I had 46 all day. And at this point, Khalil is a full-grown fucking man. He came as a freshman looking like a dad. He was just like, fuck, like, yeah, that old man strength at like 19. And we're all like, what the fuck is this guy? And
what is this anomaly of science?
Fucking science project walking in. I'm like, this isn't fair. This guy, and he already had all the scouts at the fucking practices as like a redshirt junior. And they ran the power to the left side. And I actually I was pissed off. I was angry. I was ready to prove myself. And I actually like fucking knocked him back and hit him to the ground. And the next day I walk in, for meetings, and they pull me in the office, and there's Jeff Quinn fucking sitting there he goes, congratulations, son. you got a full scholarship, and shakes my hand, gives me the paperwork. Yeah, dude.
Whoa!
And then first game was against Pitt. At Pitt, Heinz Field, and from like 50,000 people. I'm shitting bricks, you know. And first play from scrimmage, we run power, dude. We run power to the same side against their best defensive player. And I'm so nervous that I stop my feet and he fucking rocks me, dude. I mean, mama had a baby and the head popped off, dude. My fucking helmet was rolling. They showed this in film room the next day because I was the dude that like just rocked Khalil Mack, and they're like, no one's ever done that to him before. And then we get our first game, and I'm so fucking nervous that I get Daniel Lindsay. I'll never forget it. Just fucking rocks me. I stopped my feet. I was just so tense, you know. And
That's not good.
yeah, no, dude.
Oh man.
But till this day, that was my
God,
best
that's
game
so
on
funny.
paper. After that hit, I had a really solid game the rest of the game. You know,
Yeah.
it clicked me in, and I wasn't nervous. I was like, well, nothing could be worse than that. This dude just embarrassed me. My whole family's in the front
first fucking play.
row. And the first fucking play, bam! I'm like, oh God, I might never play again.
God.
And yeah,
oh my
dude.
God, he knocked his head off.
Dude, his fucking head's rolling on the fucking. My parents are like, is he dead? I'm like, I don't think so. I think I'm okay.
I kind of wish he was after that. I
Dude,
don't think...
after that, my dad's like, Jesus, get this fucking kid out of here, you know? But it woke me up for the rest of the game, and I graded out that game. The rest of the game, I had a really good game, and we almost beat Pitt, which was unheard of for us. We're like coming close to beating big-time D1 programs. So,
Wow.
yeah, so that was my college experience. And, you know, at the end of the year banquet, I started every game, and we broke all the rushing records at the university. Brandon Oliver, he's a phenomenal running back. Like he played for the Chargers for a bit before he tore his ACL, or he tore his Achilles actually. But he broke the touchdown records, the rushing records. The dude was just all class, fucking all the way up. But that was the first year that we were really running the ball, and we had the fullback in quite a bit. So I became part of that with him. We had a great offensive line. But at the end of the year banquet, every coach shook my hand and said, man, we wish we had you for one more year. And I was like, you fucking could have.
Right?
You know?
Exactly.
God,
So
damn.
they then you're only eligible for 4 years of any sport. It doesn't matter
Correct.
what sport you're playing. It's just 4 years period is what you get unless you do a red shirt.
Yeah, when that clock when you take that first, competition, whatever it may be, the clock starts for you. And then you have 4 years and one redshirt year to complete all that. I already used my redshirt year for track and field. So I was a true senior by the time I played. And that's one thing that my coach always said. He had coached the NFL for 11 years. Our running backs coach, Matt Simon, he had 2 Super Bowl rings, coached Jamal Lewis, LaDainian Tomlinson, Lorenzo Neal,
Oh wow.
Terrell Davis. Like the fucking list goes on.
Broncos.
You know? Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
the list goes on. So he said that he would always say to me, he's like, you're a senior's body and a freshman's, football IQ. And that was really, it wasn't like a knock on me, but it was like, he physically he knew I could do it, but I had missed 4 years of pedigree in college. And I did my best to learn his new offense, and I did the best I could, but it's like stand up, you get better as you go. Obviously football is the same thing.
Right.
You got to have time under tension. And for my situation, I think they appreciated what I did and knew that physically. He told me, he called Sam Gash, and Sam Gash at the time was the fullback for the Bills, like 5 years previous, or no, 10 years previous. But he called him, he's a personal friend, and he goes, look, I got a guy that can play fullback. Physically, he's got all the tools, he's got everything.
Tell me who Sam
but he's
Gash
raw.
is again.
Sam Gash was a fullback for the Buffalo Bills in like the late 90s. Really great fullback. But he was like scouting and coaching in the NFL at that point, and my running backs coach had told me that he brought me up to him. So that's when in my head I started getting the wheels turning in my head, like, yeah, no shit, you only play 1 year, but you got the physical ability. You can continue to learn football.
You haven't been getting your ass beat for 3 extra years. So
That's Yes.
physically you're doing okay. There's not a lot of wear and tear and shot put and discus. I
No.
threw those in high school.
Yeah.
I was awful at it.
Yeah. It's just not easy, dude.
It's very hard.
It's very difficult. It is
very hard.
fucking crazy. Yeah.
Did you do so when you threw shot? Did you spin or did you do the slide?
The glide?
The glide. Yeah, the glide. Yeah, the slide. The glide.
Did you do the slide, dude?
It's electric.
No, dude, I did the rotational in college. Like most the only people that still do the glide in like the professional sense are like the Eastern Europeans and the Germans. Like the super tall dudes can still do that technique, but everybody that's like 6'4", 6'5", and down, that isn't like a 7-footer, you got to do the rotation to get like the momentum going and velocity on the shot put. But yeah, I rotated, and I was a better discus thrower than shot putter. I was never a great shot putter, but in discus, I made NCAAs in both, and did everything I could as a track and field guy there too. But yeah, great. We had a great coach at our university. He was like a dad to all of us. And just a really great coach.
Yeah.
Also a fucking character, but we're not going to get on that. He's hilarious, but in his own way.
All right. So then you were brought up to the scout for the running back coach or scout, I guess, for the Bills. So you got in your head, you're like, this is a possibility.
Yeah, well, it didn't happen quite that way. Like he had talked to me about it, and he was telling me about the coaches he was talking to. So it put in my head that a guy that had coached in the NFL for 12 years was like, okay, this guy has potential. And this was like midway through the season. He told me about this. So I started to say, okay, if this guy had 2 Super Bowl rings, coached Hall of Famers, and he kind of knows his shit, obviously, if he's telling me that I have the ability to, then I should always have that in my head. And I should always have that in the back of my head. And I did, because I didn't get called after my pro day. I didn't get called after the season. None of the scouts really, were interested at that point. So it was really easy to just be like, well, I missed my shot because I only played 1 year. I could have very easily. Why do you think
they weren't interested in you? Do you think it was because you only played for a year?
I do. Yeah. At the NFL level, especially nowadays, man, you've got to be ready, especially at fullback. It'd be a different thing if I was like a linebacker or like a tight end where they were like, oh, this guy's very raw, but he's got some real like ability, if you can work on it, and he could be an asset to a team. There's really no fullbacks that are like true assets. They're kind of like kickers in a sense. They're kind of like, just like they're there type guys. There's one per team, maybe, if they use them. So I think all of that together really limited my chances.
Really?
And yeah, for sure. And I'm not saying that if I played linebacker, I would have, went ahead and had a better or longer career. There's no telling, obviously, but I can't tell you that I was manhandling a lot of our linebackers that have been playing for 4 years. So, so I was like, if I'm doing this to them, then I could certainly play their position. So
right.
So I mean, it was they hated me in the fucking locker rooms, dude. I'd walk in, they'd be like, oh fuck, during camp. But after camp, we were all boys, but during camp, they had been playing for a little bit. They had their position solidified, but I was just fucking I was psychopathically hungry to fucking play, and they just were not about that bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like doing your club set at every open mic for like a year. That's really. And just like, and everyone be like, this fucking guy, and you're killing, right? But you're murdering, right? Every open mic, you're just, people are like, he's the funniest person ever,
You've been doing that act for 5 years.
Yeah, that's really what it was like. But I had to, at that point. So, but so I didn't get opportunity after college right away. But I didn't take that as like, you can't do this. I was like, you can fucking play. You can. This former NFL coach, basically said you can do it. So I just kept training, man. And I went to every workout I could. I went to CFL workouts. I went to,
Now, for those listening like me that don't know what that is, what is that?
Oh, the CFL, the Canadian Football League.
Oh, the CFL. I thought you said CFL workouts. Okay. Yeah, because you can just go right over the border and you were right there.
Well, not even that. They bring coaches down. And it's a big market. It's kind of a marketing thing. It's kind of a money grab for a lot of the Canadian football teams, but they bring,
To have an American.
they'll bring a whole a tryout down for like former college guys, but they'll make you pay for the workout. You'll pay $50.
Gotcha.
And they'll get 200, 200, 300 guys show up, take 50 to $100 off them. They'll run them through the workout and say, yeah, maybe we'll call you. And most of the time they don't. Most of the time they don't. They're just literally, it's a business transaction. If you knew what they were thinking, you'd just put your money down on the table and be like, I'm going to save this workout for something else. So
do you think that the Canadian Football League is a viable option for people, or is it not? If you're not Canadian, then not really.
Yeah, I think it is. I think if you really want to continue to play football and not really, I mean, you can make a good living playing in the CFL. You're not going to make, you're not going to make life-changing money, but you're going to make a good living. Average salaries between like 80 to like 120 for like most players. So like it's like it's like a good job, but you're beating the shit out of your body.
Right.
I don't know. But for me, I tried out. They don't really use fullbacks all that much, but the Arena Football League does use fullbacks. And a coach from the San Jose SaberCats got a hold of my film and called me, and they signed me right after one of my last workouts. And so I was already signed to play for the San Jose SaberCats. I was coming to California to play arena ball, and they had a great fan base. They gave their fullback the ball all the time. He had the most. He was retiring that year. That's why they needed a new guy. But he had the most touchdowns out of any running back in AFL history, Arena Football League history. And they're like, we think you can play that. And like, I'm like, fuck yeah. If I'm getting the ball, scoring, doing this, I'll play fucking arena ball.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And I found out that the owners were like the Fry family, which they're like worth like $5 billion or
like
some shit like that.
Like Fry Electronics?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That was their team. So they were paying their players under the table and like setting them up with like the sickest condos in San Jose. And I heard about this, and they called me, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm fucking there, dude. I'm fucking there." But then this is what happens. Well, I get signed. I do a workout. I luck out. A connection hooks me up with a workout in front of the Bills GM and head of player personnel. I actually trained a guy who was represented by an agent that was local in Buffalo. And I ended up training this guy and working out a deal to be like, hey, can you get me in front of the GM? Can you get me in front? I just got signed by the San Jose SaberCats. They want me to fucking go out to Cali and play. Can you get me a workout in front of these guys? And he goes, yeah. So he does. And myself and the other tight end, he's still playing in the NFL, actually. He's a wonderful story as well. He's a former college basketball player, turned into a tight end, and he's still playing. He's playing for the Panthers still.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Chris Manhertz, another wonderful story. Great dude. But we both do the workout together, and they like both of us. And they're like, we're signing both of you guys to futures contracts. And I'm like, what? I was just expecting to do the workout same as like the Canadian, like, yeah,
pay
whatever.
the money
we'll see you guys.
and then bail, right?
Yeah. And they like us both, and they sign us both to futures contracts. And that was the craziest shit that I could ever fathom in my brain. Growing up there, being like, they told us verbally, but they were like, you can't say anything for the next 3 weeks until the new calendar year comes in, right?
Oh,
because so like I'm sitting here like shitting razor blades because I just got verbal word from the fucking Bills GM that he's going to sign me to play fullback. I'm like, this can't be fucking happening. And then I'm like, oh, I can't tell anyone? I'm like, this is fucking torture. And I tell my dad, dude, tell my dad, worst idea ever. This fucking dude couldn't keep a secret to save his fucking life. Because he's proud, right? He's so proud. And he's just going around town, bro.
He works at the fucking stadium. It's like,
dude, he's going around. Fucking Channel 4 knew about it before they made an announcement, basically.
Oh, no.
He's telling everyone and anyone, and I'm like, Jesus. But anyways, no one, it never gets me in trouble, but they fucking release it. I go in and fill out the paperwork. Happiest day of my life. I'm like, this is unfucking real. And I signed the paperwork, and then like 4 hours later, I'm at work. I still at a job. I'm doing personal training and training people. And
it's like when I first headlined Comedy Works, or when I first did Red Rocks, and I go to work the next morning at 6 a.m. I'm like, what the fuck?
what the
God
fuck?
damn it.
Yeah. You know it's there, and you're like, it shouldn't be this way, but it has to be, I guess, right now.
I just did Red Rocks. What the fuck?
I just did Red Rocks, dude. I shouldn't be coming to fucking media play to sell,
So you had to turn down the Sabercats.
I did. I can't. This is what they don't even make you call them. They find out through the waivers and through everything. They called me and they go, "Oh, congratulations. We see that you got picked up by the Bills. Our contract is null and void. You don't even have to worry about it. Good, best of luck to you. We'll be watching you." And I'm like, fucking amazing.
That's awesome.
But I'm sitting there the day that I signed the paperwork and at work, and it hits, because I got the Bills, app and everything, and we all do. Everyone in Buffalo has it, and it hits, Buffalo Bills sign, University of Buffalo product Corey Knox to play fullback and Chris Manners play tight end. And dude, the wildest shit ever. It's like the wildest dreams of your life just came across your phone, and you're just like, this is unbelievable.
Did your phone just start blowing up too?
Dude, it was. I'm still responding to people. I feel like I'm still, I'm still like looking through old messages. Like, it's like honestly though, the shitty part, that's not shitty. It was amazing, but I feel like I don't know if I'll ever live up to that moment as a human, because people in Buffalo are freaks about the Bills, right? They love anything Buffalo Bills.
You can have an HBO special like, it's not
dude,
the Bills.
It's not the Bills. They wouldn't care. They'd be like, he's not that funny. He's just fucking up there.
You could sell out Buffalo Arena or whatever like arena they're in, and I never played for him though.
Shit. Yeah. He never actually was on the field, so fuck that guy. Like, that's really, so I guess part of the humor and all of it is like, whatever. But yeah, craziest like 24 hours of my life. I'm just like sitting here trying to, respond to people and thank them for the support. And this is the crazy part though, in my head, I'm like, I know there's such a long way to go. You know what I mean? I'm like, This is so just the step, and it's still such a long shot. I believed in myself, and I gave it absolutely everything I had, man.
Futures contract is just that you're doing that they'll sign you in the future.
Well, no. You're literally signed to the team.
You're on.
So you're on. Like, I was literally on the roster. I was on their offseason roster, and I signed an actual NFL contract, like a regular contract. But the futures ones are like, you can sign players earlier than the regular contracted players. It's a way to get guys in the door and get them acclimated. That's what ours was for.
A lot of times it's for rookies, I assume.
Sure. Rookies and first year guys that, need to get in a little bit sooner. But I knew that it's still an uphill battle, and I've got my family, God bless them, love them. But like, they're throwing parties for me and like, I haven't, people that were at like my first communion or whatever were like at this, we're at the local pub, and I'm seeing people I haven't seen in like literally 15, 20, since I was a baby. I saw people that I didn't even know, and they're like, "We remember you," and they're like handing me cards and shit. And I'm like, "What did I do?" I'm like, I'm just trying to play football. This is a lot of pressure. It was amazing, and it is amazing, but it was truly crushing. When inevitably things don't work out, you're just like, oh man, these people, they wanted this again, and that's part of why you do it. That's part of why I wanted to play for the Bills so bad, is because it's your hometown team. You know how much it means to people there. I know how much the Buffalo Bills mean to everybody in Buffalo. It's their lifeblood. It's what they're, there's not much going on there. So it is the thing. It's one of the most beloved sports fan bases. Yeah, you sure can.
You can gamble.
I know that firsthand, my man. You got to talk to me about that shit.
That's about all you can do. That and go to Toronto. Those are the only two things I feel like you can do in Buffalo.
Yeah. So it's.
Wow. Okay. So you sign a futures contract, and that gets you in the door. But at this point, you're just on the off-season roster.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just it's still up in the air.
Yeah, there's still a lot to be done, but here's the thing that was in my mind the entire time. You've had this. This has been your situation before. You
Right.
had to you scratch, fight, and claw your way onto a college football team, a mediocre Division I football team, mind you. Like, I had to literally beg these guys like it was USC or something. I'm like, this. What are you guys talking about? This is the University of Buffalo. Love them, love the Bulls, baby, all day, horns up. But it's like we weren't, a premier team. They should be welcoming another athlete, in my
Right.
mind, to that wants to just walk on. But so this is in my head the whole time of being like, you know what, you've had your back against the wall. People have always doubted you.
This is the
You
time to fucking
This is
go
the time
hammer.
to be like, I'm gonna fucking once again murder people. I'm gonna be that guy that just doesn't care about my body to the point where I'm training so hard. I'm getting so much stronger. I'm like so physically prepared that coupled with the mindset that you do anything for this, you die for this. I will be on this team. And what I personally needed was I needed that opportunity to get into football equipment to literally show how I could physically play. And don't get me wrong, I knew that a lot of guys also would be having that same mentality
Of
because it is
course.
different. It is different than college, man. But I do believe in my heart and in my head that I was willing to do more than a lot of guys were, almost anybody, because of how much I cared about that team. That was such a genuine motivation. So I end up, doing all the mini camps. I do all the non-padded stuff,
How
and
much difference is it from pro to college? Is it just that they're bigger, faster, stronger, or is it different than that? Like what's that
here's the
experience?
yeah, that's a great question. Here's how I'll explain it. In college, on a college roster, it doesn't matter if it's a MAC school, doesn't matter if it's an ACC school, an SEC school. Um, there will be NFL players on the field at all times. Now, the amount of NFL football players, the amount of depth of those guys, it just, as you go in the levels of college football, it goes up. So our team, we had University of Buffalo at one point for a 5-year stretch put out more NFL players than like Alabama. I swear to God, I didn't believe it either,
Wow.
but they showed a statistic. We had so many guys go like late and like get like rookie like contracts,
Wow.
undrafted free agent contracts. So we actually at one point had more. So how I can explain it is when you're in at a pro setting, you're getting all of the best guys from all of those schools on one field. You know,
Okay.
it
Yep.
it becomes this point where like you're the best of the best in one spot. So it is elevated and everything is different. Everyone's faster. Everyone's stronger.
Everyone hits
So
harder.
everyone hits harder. But I walked into the football weight room for the Buffalo Bills and I bench pressed more. And benching isn't even my strong suit. Like I'm an okay bencher when it comes to like the guys that I train with growing up, but I bench more than anyone on that football team at 315. I did 315 12 times.
God
And
damn.
and they were like looking at me like, what the fuck, And we got 330-pound D tackles that I'm benching more than. I I was a squat guy. I was like, put the fuck, let's do a squat challenge. I want to do the squat one. I was knocking on the door of 700 pounds at like 240, 245 pounds. So I was like, dude, I was so fucking amped up and training so hard to show what I could do. And 2 mini camps in, I did a rookie mini camp, veterans mini camp, did all the OTAs, did everything. A week before camp, Rex Ryan fucking brings back his old fullback from the Jets and just, kicks me to the curb. And
Oh.
it was,
Because they had a
unf-
coach shift, right? Didn't they have a coach change?
So when I got signed, it was Doug Marrone. And 4 days in to me being signed, I meet him and everything. He's like, glad I heard a lot about you. We're glad you're here, whatever. I'm like, yeah, cool. And then 4 days later, I see it coming across my phone again. Doug Marrone opts out as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, walks away with
Wow.
$4.2 million, and just goes to the Jets as like an offensive line coach. He just dipped. He had a clause in his contract that said he could leave whenever. So he's just
Whoa.
like, I'm the fuck out of here. And then the
And then
Pagulas
Rex
are
Ryan came in.
the Pagulas are scrambling to find a head coach. They're like, what do we do? They just bought the team like a year or two ago, and they're like, we don't know. Our coach just walked out. Rex just got fired from the Jets. They interview him. Obviously, he interviews well. He's a fucking character. And they're like, this is our guy. And I'll be honest, when I first met him and when I first saw him do his press conference, I'm sitting there in the field house watching him get introduced in person, and I get goosebumps. I'm fucking like, I'm shivering about it. Because he's sitting there going, I know Buffalo's a blue-collar town. It is nothing but hard workers, and that is exactly the type of football we are going to breed. It's going to be smash-mouth, hard-nosed, blue-collar, the same people, the same vibe of the people that live here. And I'm just going like,
you're fucking full,
oh, dude,
fully
I'm
erect.
creaming. I'm literally, I got spandex and a boner in the field house because I'm like, this is me, man. There's no way Rex Ryan's not going to like me. I'm going to be a psychopath. I'm a blue-collar Buffalo. I'm literally one of the people he's talking about right now. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to give everything I have. And I do at every OTA. I was fucking long snapping, dude. I was cleaning the balls. I was getting other players water. I was doing whatever the fuck I could to be like, I want to be on this team, dude. Like, I mean, and unfortunately, the political thing happens, and I think some guys deserve second chances, third chances, but he brought his old fullback from the Jets. Unfortunately, it was John Connor. So you know what that looked like on the comment section. Fuck you, dude. How about that?
Oh God, no.
Corey Knox terminated. Yeah, that's like the fucking, I'm like,
that's
oh, great.
The worst. That's the worst way to go out. Like,
yeah,
where like people can like easily make fun of you.
Oh yeah.
Brutal.
Oh,
okay.
It was awful. He couldn't have had a worse name, dude. Couldn't have had a worse name.
That's the worst. And now, did he pan out for them, or was he kind of?
No, absolutely not. This is the part that kills me the most. Is they end up signing a veteran fullback, Jerome Felton. He blocked for Adrian Peterson, for most of his career. And I'll be honest, Helen Keller could be a great fullback for Adrian Peterson. He's fucking Adrian Peterson. Anyways, we signed Jerome Felton. He's a pretty good fullback. He's kind of at the end of his career. He's a 10-year vet.
But they would travel around together, like basically, like they get signed to they were kind of a package.
No. Jerome Felton got released from the Vikings, and our running backs coach liked him, had familiar ties with him, so he signed him as a veteran guy. So basically, It was myself and Jerome Felton, like kind of battling it out. They probably were inevitably always going to go with Jerome Felton because they paid him a bunch of guaranteed money. But I was out working him, like physically. I was a little bit taller. I had better hands. I was like younger, stronger, but he had all the pedigree.
He had the knowledge, yeah.
And he did. Yeah. And absolutely he did. And you know what? I wish that I had that, but it is what it is. And he inevitably gets a starting nod, but right before camp, instead of keeping a young guy that has an opportunity to at least get in pads, and if you do cut him, he goes to another team, which is what I would have loved to have happen, which is what happened to Chris Manhertz, by the way, the guy I got signed with.
Yeah.
I would have maybe ended up on another team or on the practice squad or something. But what Rex did was his old fullback from the Jets had been cut from like 3 different teams. He had been on and off rosters for like the last 4 years. He blew out his ACL. This was like his last opportunity to get on an NFL roster, and I'm assuming his agent called and was like, Rex, can you throw us a bone one last time? And John Connor was a great fullback when he first came into the league. He was fucking knocking people out. He was just like a good, solid fullback, but he had his time. And they gave him my camp spot. And after the first preseason game, he had like not a good game. You could tell he just was kind of out of it. They cut him after the first game, and then John Connor.
And you still got, and you were still bumped.
Yeah. I was off the roster.
And they didn't bring you back on?
This is where it all gets insane. Like, I knew that they were going to cut Connor. The running backs coach called me and was like, right after they released me, literally never been more sick in my life, maybe a couple times, but he called me and talked to me for like a half hour on the phone. And this is Anthony Lynn. He's now the head coach of the Chargers. And he's like, man, I really feel for this situation. He's like, and he didn't have to do this. And he called me and he talked to me. and he said, I didn't want us to release you, but we're trying to get John another opportunity in the NFL. So we're trying to get him cut, he cut so he can get picked up by another team. We know we're not going to keep him. That's what he said. And he's like, I like you. I think you develop, and he's telling me all these things. Like, he's kind of hinting at maybe they're going to bring me back. And he's like, I want to bring you back. So that's what's in my head. If they don't want you back, they just don't call you. They don't say anything. I didn't call him.
Of course.
Yeah, I didn't call him. He called me. He didn't have to call me. I was just another fucking guy to him. It didn't matter. But he called me and he gave me this information, and I was like, okay, this means keep training and be ready. And I had a friend who worked in the security office for the team, for like the grounds. And every night he had to do inspections, and he would go up into all the offices in the Buffalo Bills front office. And he said that they had a whole big board in the war room, and it was players that they either had signed or players that they drafted or guys that they were going to bring back. They had their lists, it was a big giant board with everyone's name on it. And he told me that every day my name was right under John Connors for OTAs and the scrimmages and until he got cut. And then when he got cut, my name was behind Jerome Felton's. He's like, so it was like always right there to be the next guy to get called back. So that, that kept me training, and it kept me with it, but it got to a point where that season had ended. So I'm like, well, that's kind of it, and then I'm still training as hard as I fucking can. I'm still trying to get on other teams. My agent's calling. I had calls when I got released from the Redskins, the Dolphins, and the Texans. And I was like, just fucking get me somewhere if you can. But
I'll take anywhere, and I'll figure it out from there.
I'll go to Texas, dude. I'll go to fucking Texas. But we
big change from Buffalo. That's for sure.
Dude, I'll go to Texas. At that point, all the rosters were inflated to like 90, 100 guys, so they couldn't get me on the team. And, the next year just went by, but I didn't stop training. I didn't stop thinking that I could do it. I kept fucking giving everything I had. I just kept training angry. I was getting angrier and angrier that was
because you
how
had
I was
it. You were on the
roster. I was
right,
bro. I was right there, So this is where it gets kind of interesting. I live across the street from this Mexican place in Buffalo at the time. Don Juan's, shout out Don Juan's. I don't think they're open right now because great, pretty good Mexican. And I come home one day, and Rex notoriously loves Mexican food. That's like him and his brother. They go all the time, whatever. So he's got this big, giant, jacked up truck. It's a Ford 350, whatever. Like, I'm an asshole type shit. Like, it's off
truck
the ground.
nuts type of rifle shit if he could.
Dude, everything, whatever. Fucking stupid looking. And it's parked in that fucking Don Juan's parking lot. And I just got back from a workout, dude. I'm fucking pissed off. I'm really mad. I just trained, and like blood's flowing. My fucking veins are coming out of my neck, and I'm thinking about all this shit. And I see this truck, and I'm just like, fucking motherfucker. I fucking pull in, dude. I pull into the parking lot. And I'm like, oh, man, when he comes out, I didn't know if I was going to fucking tackle him or if I was going to try and talk. Like, I didn't know. I was just angry. And I'm like, I just got to get in front of this guy again. So I do. Him and his brother, by the way, they fucking stumble out of there. They're a fucking mess, dude. They are a drunk mess anywhere they go in public, which is fine because, like, whatever. But I walk right up to him and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he goes, oh, hey, man, how you doing? And I just literally, I don't even answer him. I just go into detail of what I would do to play for that football team again. And I talk to them, right? Like, I'm talking at them for like 10 minutes, and I'm getting fucking emotional while they're pretty boozed up. But I'm like, and they're like, they're almost like yes sirring me, and I'm like, this is crazy that I could do this to these guys, but because I'm so pissed off. I've just been working out, right? And like, they're into it. Rob Ryan is into it. Rob Ryan's like, we gotta get this guy on the fucking field. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna kill one of us right now until the cops get here.
It's
like,
probably gonna be me.
Yeah.
So
it's like,
let's make sure that you get him on the field.
Yeah. So I'm like, and then at the end of it, Rex looks at me dead in the eyes. He reaches down and he goes, he shakes my hand. He goes, "You got my fucking word. We're gonna bring you back." And I'm like, there it is. And then I'm communicating back with the fucking running backs coach. I'm like, I just talked to Rex. He's like, I know we had a meeting about it. Maybe they were talking about like extra security measures when they're not on the fucking football premises or some shit. I don't know. I don't know if that's what their meeting was about. Like, I'm thinking
can't
in my
just
head,
have these psychos just coming up to me when I'm buzzed at a taco spot.
dude, I'm thinking about it in my head like, oh, they had a meeting about like, oh yeah, they're gonna bring me back, but it was just on like, all right, this guy's a psychopath, and we've got to talk about maybe taking legal measures. No, but they did want, in a way they wanted me back. I don't know if it was injuries, how they had to shuffle the running backs. They cut Fred Jackson that year too, and Fred Jackson was like the fucking man. So like there was a lot of like politics going on between the GM and Rex. Rex like he wants to be everything when he's on the team.
Gotcha.
Right? He wants to be the GM. He wants to pick all the guys. He's a control guy.
Gotcha.
So I think that he wrestled with the GM a lot, and they inevitably ended up parting ways. Whatever. I think that was part of the reason why I didn't get brought back. I think that the sentiment was there. I think that they did want me to get another chance to be a practice squad guy or develop into a young fullback that could run, catch, hit, do whatever the fuck you need me to do. But it just didn't happen. So that's that.
Damn. How long was that whole process? About 3 years? 4 years?
Yeah, from leaving college to, not getting picked up to then getting signed. And then these are things I'm all remembering. I'm remembering them now. But so I get released and I don't get picked up by another team. The whole shit happens. The San Jose SaberCats call back.
Oh,
and I'm
they
like,
still want you.
Dude, I'm like, they're like, yeah, we'd love to have. I'm like, fuck yeah. Once again, absolutely. I just want to play. And 2 months later, I'm like getting ready. I'm training, getting ready. They're sending me all this paperwork. I signed the contract. I'm like ready to go. And then like a month and a half, 2 months later, an article, I'm looking through like Facebook and an article pops up, San Jose SaberCats fold organization and leave the AFL. And I'm like, what? And it turns out that they
Motherfucker.
yeah, go figure.
Motherfucker.
Right. Dude, I know. And I'm like, how is this fucking happening?
What happened?
Well, John Connor bought the team, and fucking assholes. No, the Fry family was paying people under the table, and they were setting their guys up with more than the league was like allowing. And the league found out about it, and they're like, well, this is kind of fucked up. This is why you guys win the Grey Cup the AFL championship every year. And, and the Fry family was like, well, yeah, that's what we want to do. We're going to take care of our players. They're not making enough from the league standards, so we want to make sure they're taken care of. They pulled the team. Dude, I loved it. Totally running a monopoly on the fucking league, but like doing, with players. But
so they pulled the team.
They literally were like, well, if we can't do this anymore, we're fucking out. No more San Jose SaberCats, dude. And they were like the most decorated team, obviously, for years. So, yeah.
Both in jewelry and in awards.
Exactly, dude. So that was that, man. And then I got asked to play rugby from a Toronto-based rugby league team. And they were doing this whole documentary series where they bring American football players into rugby to see if they can like translate. And this multi-millionaire.
How was that?
Oh, this is my hat. This is where my hat comes from. A lot of people don't know this, but this is the Toronto Wolfpack hat, dude. Yeah, dude, they're a big rugby team now. They're in the Super League, which is big time rugby. And they didn't start out there. They relegated up to that, but they ran a program where they're like, can we get a fan base in Toronto and in the United States by bringing in former American football players, whether they be Division I college, whether they be pro? Can these guys come in, bring a fan base, and then also play? Yeah. And they did this whole documentary, man. For like 2 weeks, we're doing the trials. They're doing trials in Tampa. They're doing trials in the Midwest. They're doing them all over.
It was part of a documentary series?
Oh, absolutely. It was nuts. They had 18 finalists, right? They did trials all over the world. They went to Jamaica, they went to Canada, they went to the US, they went to England, they went to Australia. Dude, they went all over the fucking place to bring like 2 or 3 guys from each place. And for the Americans, there was always American football players. So they literally brought 18 of us to England for a week. No, 2 weeks. We did 2 weeks in England. And we formed a team. And then we played a rugby league team, like a good amateur club, like a well-known amateur club in England. Most of us had never played rugby before in our lives.
I was going to ask, have you ever played?
No. I mean, up until that
point,
do you
even know the rules?
I do now, but at that point, I was like, "What the fuck is this?
You ever seen Australian rules rugby on a round field? That's shit's insane. Nuts. I don't understand how it's still called the same sport.
It doesn't make any sense, but it's entertaining as shit.
Yeah. Late night watching Australian rules rugby.
Dude, hilarious. It's like it's the Ocho type shit, dude.
Yeah,
I can watch the Ocho all day. I can't watch ESPN anymore, dude. I can't. It's just the same stories over and over again, told by 4 different annoying people at a time. That's really it. It's I can't watch it anymore. I watch Disney, the Ocho, dude. Disney or the Ocho, man. I can watch people throw and stretch pizza dough in a competition. I can do that shit. That's entertaining.
Dude, I saw one where they were basically playing ping pong, but they couldn't. They had to use their hands to do it, and they could dive on the actual table. It's crazy.
Love it.
Yeah. So you went and played rugby, and you've never played rugby, and then did y'all win?
Dude, we won that game, and it was huge news in the rugby league community. And we did, and I completely separated my shoulder, and dude, agonizing pain. Because in rugby, you have to stay tighter. Like you can't reach out in rugby because you're taught to run through shoulders, and you have no equipment on. So like I like lost my footing because it was a rainy game, and I literally just stuck my arm out to try and get this guy, and he just literally ran like through my deltoid and just blew my shoulder straight out of my back. And I was like, this is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. This fucking trainer came out. I'm writhing in pain on the ground, just like, this is the worst thing. And I broke my collarbone twice. This is way worse than that. And she puts it back in, and it was immediate relief. And then I'm like, okay, I told the coach, I'm like, I can go back in. But there was like a minute left in the game. He's like, nah, you're good. Just stay up. But we ended up winning the game on like a last second try, which is fucking phenomenal. And we literally, we're a huge story in England on this whole this Toronto-based rugby team, this ragtag group of kids from all over. And we all had backstories. We all came from like tough times, right?
Most of them were football players.
Well, the U.S. players were. The U.S. guys were all former football players. And we all had like kind of challenging backstories.
Gotcha.
Like there's a kid from Cleveland, Monte Gaddis, wonderful kid, grew up in the fucking hood in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. They did a whole segment on how this kid literally had to just, obviously, you go back to the age-old story of, is he going to pick the streets or is he going to pick something positive? And he picks the positive thing, and it's an incredible story. He's still training, still trying to play till this day. But they had a group of guys like that were part of this, and it really drove the fan base, and it was a really neat thing that we were part of. They haven't released any of the footage yet, but I watched most of it, and it was fucking incredible. We did the week in England. We did all these team building things. We did all this, dude. It was a reality series. It literally was, and it was a fucking riot. And I'll be honest, that's when I personally started to realize that maybe I could do something in entertainment. That's when the wheels started turning, because we did a talent show, and I did impersonations of every player that I thought was like hilarious, right? Like the Jamaican guys were hilarious the whole fucking time. They were the funniest people I've ever met till this day. And their voices, their sayings, like not even knowing how hilarious they were most of the time to us. And just, I impersonated them. I did the Canadian dude. I did the Australian dude. And it crushed in front of like the whole team and the coaches and shit. And they loved it. And I was like, I could do this, man. I was hammered, fucking wasted, fucking wasted.
I wonder if that had something to do with it, too.
Oh, for sure, dude. But that's when I was like, you know what? And the camera guys were like, man, that was great, And I was like, I could do something like this. And then I moved back, and Moved down to Nashville because nothing was happening in Buffalo, and do my first open mic, and there you fucking go. It's been fun.
So you just didn't want to move forward with the rugby?
Dude, well, what they ended up doing, actually, I missed a part in there. They ended up placing me with a team in England, an amateur team. So I ended up going to England for,
Yeah, that seems like a pretty big part.
yeah, dude.
That you
Like I
missed,
said,
you
I just
fucking
smoked weed
jackass.
for the first time in a while, and I told you how I deal with weed. I got high the other day for the first time in a while, and I asked someone, we were watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I looked at them and I said, what city is this set in? And that's not even kidding. And then I like realized I said it, and I was like, did I really say that? And then I looked at them, and they were like, really? And I was like, oh
No,
fuck, dude,
I
I
was
did say
joking.
it.
I was making funny.
But but I did lose a big chunk of it. They sent me to England for 4 months. They paid a bunch of my shit, like everything was set up, and I played like a full season of rugby league in England, and that was wonderful. The dudes were fucking great. The lads were awesome. I got a real like appreciation for that game and that sport. And I did have some like higher level teams that were like in England that were like, we could see you playing this and playing at the next level and continuing. Would you be interested? And I just didn't know if at that point rugby's a long haul. I mean,
Yeah.
and it is brutal on your body. It's not brutal on your head the way football is, but it's brutal on your shoulders, on your knees, on your joints.
Right.
Uh, I played in a
What kind of
match where
money is in rugby?
that's the other thing. It's like if you get to the top levels, it becomes like I could equate it to like being like a professional hockey player. Like most
Okay.
guys make a good living playing it. If you're playing like the Super League and the NRL, which is an Australian league, if you're playing in those leagues, you're making good money and like you can
Right.
do it. But those are guys that have been playing since they were literally 6 years old, 5 years old. It's their football, you know.
Right.
That's where the game came from. So I'm going, man, this is going to be another 10 years to maybe by the time
Ugh.
I'm like 35, 36, be on a pro team. I'm like,
And then you're all
I'm
beat
weighing it in
up,
my,
and then you're trying
yeah.
to, yeah.
I mean, dude, we had a guy like we're playing one of our matches, and I'll give you an example of the brutality of the game. I'm calling it. It's a very you call your side, like you call support to whatever side you need it, and the whole game I'm calling left, and this guy is not like responding most of the time, or he's late to the party to get this guy, and then like after the first quarter, I look over and then his fucking ear is falling off, and I'm like, oh, that's why he can't hear me because his fucking ear's falling off.
What?
Oh yeah, dude. And that's just the way the game is played. And they won't come out and they don't care. And it's like at that point we weren't even making a lot of money playing. So it's like these guys are just insane.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I'm like, go stand on the other side. And then the rest of the game,
Right.
we won the game because he was fucking great. He was phenomenal on defense.
Yeah,
But
he was good enough to he was good enough to rip his fucking ear off.
yeah. So that's the type of shit.
Good
But
lord.
so I think I realized that I wasn't gonna do that for 10 years and maybe make it, maybe not. I came back home and I thought about it. And the Toronto team the Toronto Wolfpack was still interested. They're like, we would love to see you develop and maybe give you another shot. Maybe there's an opportunity here. And, but at that point they were bringing in guys that had been playing in the Super League and in the big leagues for like 5-10 years. They were bringing those guys right away. And I hadn't known all that much about the game yet to just go on and play. It's a totally different game, literally completely different. Like you can take a good American football player, even if they're a freak athlete, and the structure of the game is so much different that it limits your ability. You're so close quarters. You're so like.
It seems like a different type of engagement
It
physically.
is.
You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? It's not so much collision based.
Yeah.
It's almost like
It's grappling.
there are collisions, but
It's
trying to move an immovable object. It's like who's stronger.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. For 80 minutes.
Right.
You play 80 minutes. You play 2 40 minute halves with no whistles. That's the other thing. It's literally soccer and American football with no pads if you were wrestling the entire time. That's literally what it is.
Wow.
So incredibly tough game. So I just was like, you know what, this was cool. It was an awesome experience, but I'm just gonna move down to Tennessee, see what's shaking down there. And then I
Yeah.
started,
And then you
doing
started
stand
doing
up, and
comedy.
yeah,
How do you like living in Nashville now?
I fucking love Nashville, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great city. Um, I think a lot of awesome people already live here. The locals are great. I think that all the people that move here are fucking awesome too, because it seems like everyone's trying to get to a place where they're happy, and when they get here, it feels like home. So I think I'm one of those people that since I've lived here, I'm just like, this place is awesome. There's great comedy clubs here. There's
It
there's
really is.
independent shows. Obviously, Zanies is fucking phenomenal. Any chance
Yep.
we get to go up at Zanies, we're like, fucking please. It's great. It's I saw you fucking crush there,
It was very
which was
fun. I really had a
yeah,
good time there.
dude, you killed it.
I really
Yeah,
had a good time there.
yeah,
Now, it it really does seem to me like that's where a lot of stars kind of live. I mean, even as John kind of told me, you're within 8 hours of 80% of the market
yeah,
of like all of America's market, and
yeah,
that's wild.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so
The
that, yeah, wow,
the location is phenomenal. You get to, it's like a hub. It's like its own mini hub. It's like
yeah,
Atlanta. Like Atlanta's obviously great too. Atlanta, different vibe, but awesome. And I would say this feels like a younger Atlanta in a way. Like it hasn't popped off yet. It's not developed into like what it eventually will be. But
sure.
the
And
the
land seems like
fact,
it's still cheap too.
yeah, yeah, no, it really is. I mean, it's getting more expensive, but it's, you know, yeah, it's a great place, man. There's a lot of great people here, a lot of really great stand-ups, and a lot of people, working their asses off to produce shows and make things happen. And I think that's one thing that when you were here, man, we hadn't really, we were supposed to do a show together, whatever, it didn't work out, but you know, I learned from you in a sense. Where I saw you at the open mic on Monday, and oh, that's Brent. I'm like, oh, cool, man. We didn't get to do the show, but I'm gonna fucking say what's up to this dude. And I saw you do your set, and I was like, I obviously saw you at Zanies, and I saw you at the open mic. I'm like, this guy just did fucking a weekend at Zanies, and he's coming in to the open mic at Third Coast Comedy Club, which is a great club,
On a
but it's
Monday.
on a
Or,
fucking
or,
Monday.
or a Sunday, or no, it was a
Yeah,
Monday, I think.
it's a
Yeah.
Monday. Yeah, and you dude, just you being a guy that's been doing it for a while and doing all that you do, you're like hanging out with people that it was, there were a couple of guys that was their first time on stage, and we're hanging out after, and you're like, dude, that was great, and you're like giving them all these pointers and advice, and I'm like, wow, this guy, he fucking loves this, man. This is like, this is a lesson where I'm like, half the time we fucking do our sets, and sometimes it's just like, you can't be around people sometimes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just to see that how you handled and how cool you were with everybody, no matter if they were been doing it for years or if they had just started,
Oh, we're
was
all in the same
man,
game. We're on the same
no, you're
boat,
right. You're right, man.
And like it just I don't want to be the end of anyone's story of like, oh, that guy's an asshole. It was my first night and I did this and he told me not to do comedy.
Sure.
Because I forgot what that guy's name was, but he was asking a lot of questions and then about his set. He's like, how did you think it went? Did you think it went well? I was like, I think, did you think it went well? If you enjoyed it, then that's all that fucking matters. It's your
Yeah.
first time. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And it's an open mic. It doesn't matter.
It literally doesn't matter.
There's going to be another one
Mhm.
next week.
Next week.
Right.
For sure.
Like
Well,
that's how I like look at LA shows out here sometimes cuz doing shows in LA is very different than doing shows everywhere else in the country. And so
Yeah.
I just kind of look at them like, hey, if I eat shit at one of them, whatever. It was a show.
yeah.
Sure, there might be the booker for fucking Colbert there, but hey, you know what? It was a show.
Yeah, it was a show.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
She
You're right.
knows how
And-
shitty the show was.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying that's where I appreciated you, and I was just like, this dude's fucking man.
Well,
I
I'm
just
glad
learned-
I did go because we got to meet because I was
Yeah.
bummed that I couldn't do the show, and
Yeah.
and it was just fascinating to hear your path to comedy.
Yeah, it's still evolving, and
Of course.
I feel like I'm very lucky living in Nashville. There's a lot of opportunity, and I'd be silly to say that I didn't get some things that people that worked really hard for haven't right away got. And that's just that's the way things kind of work, But I'm lucky that I'm here, just being able to work on it. I'm a long way from, obviously it takes a long time to continue to develop, and I think that living in a place like this where you do get a lot of opportunity, even if you do start out younger or like earlier, um, it's encouraging to know that like guys like you will come in and be like, you can be fucking cool to ever, you haven't been doing, even if you're doing stand up for 10, 15 years, you're still supposed to come back and support people, even if
Of
they're, you know what I mean?
course.
Like, that's something that I get lost in. I think a lot of us get lost in. I'm just like, dude, we're all doing this, to get like, yeah, we all want to be better and but it's going to take time.
Right.
And, I'm developing, I'm trying to this whole time I'm like, I got to rewrite all my shit, man. It's fun. I like what I've delved into, but I need to
Why?
keep
Why do
going.
you gotta rewrite your shit? What do you?
I
Like?
mean,
What's going on?
I just think that, like I said, I get a lot of us get great opportunities in Nashville, and I feel like that sometimes pulls you away from, really sitting down and being like, okay, well, this is working weekend in and weekend out. You could do this, but what is really going to take you to the next level? It's kind of stopping that and like going, okay, well, where can you even evolve this even further instead of just try, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I think, for me, I'm at that point where I don't think I've even scratched the surface. I think I've got cool things to talk about, which I like, which I think that's why people sometimes will listen to me on stage. They're like, oh, he's got a unique angle of this. This is, which I think is cool. But comedically, I think I have a long way to go. But what I'm trying to say is seeing someone like you come in, that's encouraging to me to be like, oh, this guy's he's still fucking doing it. He's still cool as shit, giving advice to people that are just starting out. Don't ever think you're further ahead than you, like, it doesn't
Oh,
matter.
I still want advice from people ahead of me. Like the
Yeah.
advice train never stops, and I feel like it's just like karma. You got to put good in to the comedy universe, and then you'll get good out.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
know.
It's tough to do sometimes though. So it's
Yeah,
like,
it's because we get mad at ourselves and
we
get
do.
and we
Right.
get jealous. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
We get jealous.
Yeah.
And jealousy is a tough one in the comedy because we want it. We're like
Yeah.
I want my favorite one is I should have that. That should
Uh-huh.
that should be like I'm like, well, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
should you?
Fucking should you?
And like
Yeah.
but like also you have to keep in mind that it's the way of the world. That you can't I look at it like a window, right?
Mm-hmm.
And only a certain amount of people can get through that window at a time, and you're just kind of waiting for a hole in the stream, and then it's your turn, and then
It's your turn.
once you're in it, then it's fucking going.
Yeah.
So
And
there's room for everyone.
yeah,
It's
it
different.
takes it takes time, and it takes
Yeah,
not giving up. And
yeah,
it takes working hard and not giving up. Like that is one of the things that people told me when I first started coming out to open mics, is they were like, we love that, we think it's great that you're an athlete, and we know you're going to work hard at this because you want it.
yeah.
And it is something that I've always loved comedy. So I was like, I'm not, I wasn't like a super freak comedy nerd growing up, but I really enjoy, like, I would always watch stand up. I would always go to shows. I was like a fan of comedy, and I was a fan of trying to make people laugh. So I was like, I know I can do this. Now I just have to apply the work ethic, uh, into it, and it's going to be agonizing at times. It's going to be difficult, but
Right.
it's the process, and it's how it evolves. And I don't know, man. Like we talked about earlier. It's rewarding when it does happen, and when you get that night where it's just like, oh man, this is why I'm doing it, and you just got to string more of those nights together.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's how it works, dude. And that's how you know that you are getting better and better as your bomb to do well ratio
Yeah.
starts
Starts to
flipping.
shrink a little bit. Yeah, flips it. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So, I mean, and then you'll get to the point where you never really like. That's not true. Not never, but it's rare that you'll like bomb in the traditional sense that we think of when we think of like a bomb.
Hmm.
You don't really do that very often.
No.
After a while, you'll have
Yeah.
shows that aren't great,
Yeah.
but you won't be like It's rare that you're gonna like walk a crowd unless you're like Todd Glass at Comedy Works and he's intentionally trying to do it.
Right.
Dude, he walked. I'm not kidding you. I think about just around 200 people in one show.
Wow.
He walked off stage and he goes, I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes. If you want to leave, you can leave. And he walks off stage and he has a wireless mic and he's doing some like dumb monologue. Like people fucking hated it. And he pissed off the club because he made them, he had a band, a full band on stage with him. And this is at Comedy Works downtown. This is a small stage.
Yeah.
Has all these sound cues and stuff like that, and then doesn't do anything with the band.
Oh my God.
At all. It's like it was. Yeah.
Why did he do that though?
I don't know. It was an interesting story to hear, but what a breakdown. I mean, I don't know if it was a breakdown. I like to think that they're probably aware of what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm not a walk a crowd kind of a guy.
No,
you know?
I feel like you have to get to a certain point where you're just like, if this doesn't go well, I don't give a fuck.
Right?
You know, which I'm learning is like I don't think I could ever do something like that, but I'm learning that mentality, like as a stage presence, is like when you can think that in the back of your head, but also tell your jokes like you give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like tell your jokes like you give a fuck, but in the back of your mind be like, none of this matters. It's just who the fuck cares. That's
just
when
having an existential crisis on stage while you're mid-set.
Absolutely.
What's the deal with these macaroni and cheese packets? And then you're in the back of your head.
Dude, before all this happened, a week before everything shut down, I'm doing a set at a club in town, a comedy bar, and I wasn't even supposed to be on the show. Someone, bailed last second, whatever, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to jump on?" I'm like, "Yeah," They're like, "Do 20," and I'm just like, "Fucking sure." But I was so like in a different mindset of like I wasn't expecting to go up. I didn't care. I literally did
the
things.
Best shows.
Dude, I did things that I never normally do, and it ended up working out really, really great. And I felt, I was like, this is how I need to approach it more. Not that I don't care. Obviously, I care. I write every single night. I write every single day. It's not good, but I do it. And
it's good habit to get into.
Yeah, and just that. Like not giving a fuck in the back of my head, but also remembering all my bits and punchlines and trying to think about crowd work and do it was like, it was one of probably my best set start to finish ever. And I was like, dude, I got to keep doing, if we're not all dead after this, I got to keep doing that shit. I got to fucking,
it was one of the last shows. We're all dead after this,
dude. It was one of the last shows before they shut everything down, and I did one of my bits at the end. That is probably my favorite bit, but it got them pretty good. But like 3 people started coughing as they were laughing, and like I was just like, dude, I don't know if this is good or not. I don't know if I want you guys to laugh and potentially cough on like this is fucking a weird feeling.
Oh man.
So yeah.
I got one last question for you.
Yeah, man.
And I don't know if there's a fun story behind it, but you also got a tryout with the WWE.
Oh yeah.
How have we not covered that yet?
Well, because I have.
When was the WWE in relation to the rest of it?
Here's the thing, dude.
Remember I'm gonna pack up another bowl.
Remember when you asked me at the beginning when you were like, "Do you feel like CTE has affected you at all?" And I was like, "No, I don't think it's affected me at all." And then I'm like having huge gaps in like my life story that I should know pretty well by now. And you're like, yeah.
And then I moved to Nashville. Oh, no, wait. I moved to another country first.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
I forgot about that. And not the one north, across an ocean. Yeah, not the one you think it would be. Not Toronto.
Exactly.
England. So you, okay, first of all, because I read this, and I was like, I hope, oh my God, I can't wait. First question. At what part of the timeline that we just covered did this happen?
It was literally at the same time I was getting recruited by the Toronto Wolfpack. So that's why it's like hard to tell both stories simultaneously. But at one point, I was doing wrestling workouts and rugby workouts. I was in the best shape of my fucking life. I was like, dude, if the NFL calls right now, I will fucking be like, they'll be like, what the fuck is this Herschel? Is this white Herschel Walker? Like, what is going on? But like, I was like just a machine at that point. But it was at that point where I was being recruited to go either way. The WWE saw my story, much like the Toronto Wolfpack did. So this is the root in that whole situation. When right before I saw Rex in that thing, I was going. No, this was after. This was after he refused to sign me again. I went to the stadium
on my
one day. What'd you say?
on my word, I will bring you back. Now,
exactly.
I'm gonna go drive home.
I'm gonna go drive home, but I took a sign. You know, I was like, you got to do something. They said they want you back. Maybe they're looking for a little bit more. I don't fucking know. So I wrote on the sign. Originally, I wrote, "No one's hungrier than me," but then I realized that if I wrote that and I'm standing outside of the Bills Stadium
homeless.
with like a cutout, it's like this is like the most jacked homeless dude ever. And I'm like, this is probably not a good. People are going to be bringing me, you know, pallets of soup or whatever. You know, Campbell's
He needs
Chunky.
a lot. He's right.
So I go to the stadium and I fucking hold the sign, and I stand out there in a blizzard because it was the only day I had off work, and I'm like, I'm standing out here for fucking 4 hours. I don't give a fuck if I freeze to death. I literally had icicle. I was just frozen. Like, I didn't care. I wanted every coach. I wanted the GM. I wanted everybody to see that I was fucking. This is Buffalo, dude. This is a psychopath standing in a blizzard because it's his only day off to fucking let you know that he will do anything to play for this football team. And you should know it. And that's what I did. I wrote, "No one wants it more than me," on the sign. And a local reporter got wind of it, and he saw it. He saw me, and he was like, "Dude, I got to do a story on you." And he did a whole story on me. It got put, you know, fucking
in front of all of your friends and family.
Well, ESPN.
So you got double embarrassed.
Well, yeah,
but you got cut. And then you got.
Yeah. Then I'm fucking hanging out.
Homeless now.
This homeless Corey's not doing good at all, man. He's on the streets. And but ESPN picks up the story, man, and they fucking run it. Oh. And the reporter is a big time NFL beat writer. He calls Herm Edwards. You know, he's calling all these he called Jeff Quinn, my old football coach that gave me the fucking opportunity at college. And Jeff Quinn had nothing to say. He nothing but good things to say. He said, "When Corey Knox says he's gonna, Corey Knox says he's gonna do something, he's gonna fucking do it." You know, that's all the quote was. It didn't even make any sense. You know, I mean, it kind of did, but he didn't even ask that question. That was just the first thing that Jeff Quinn said. Hello.
So you coached Knox, right? You know, if he says he's gonna do something, wait, what?
That's really, yeah.
Are you alive?
So, I don't know if he is, but he's a solid dude. But so yeah, man, the WWE gets word of that because it got picked up and it got put over ESPN. The people that are doing research to find athletes for WWE saw that, and they contacted me like, "This is a great story. This kid seems like he's got some passion. Maybe instead of taking it to football, he'll bring it to the wrestling ring." A lot of former NFL guys go.
Oh yeah, The Rock did it.
Yeah, dude, all those dudes.
Goldberg,
so,
fucking.
Yeah. So yeah. Dude, a ton of them.
Undertaker, I think, played basketball.
Yeah, a ton of them, which makes total sense.
Yeah.
And it was right at the time where I like did that talent show. I'm like feeling good about me being in front of people and being a goofy asshole. I'm like, I can fucking do this. And oh boy, the workouts for that shit they're just insane. And
are they really like harder than?
Dude, everyone pukes. Oh god, yeah, everyone pukes. You're just literally dying the whole time. They just push your spirit to the limit to see if you can sustain it, because that's what wrestling is. It's 25, 30 years of this never ends, and you have to have that. You have to be that passionate about it. And I think I was in entertaining people, but maybe not in that facet. Maybe they could pick up on it. I gave everything I had at that WWE tryout, and I thought it was awesome.
So what?
But
So what did the tryout look like?
I mean, they take you to the performance center. They fly you down to Tampa, Florida for a weekend, pay for everything, and you show up, and they do your weight, they take all your vitals and all that shit, and then they put you through a series of like physical tests in the weight room and physical challenges in the weight room and in the ring. They teach you a little bit of wrestling and they see how well you can replicate it and do it. And I made some big mistakes early that I believe hurt my chances. First and foremost, the Briscoe brothers. I had no idea who the Briscoe brothers were. And they're wrestling Hall of Fame, right?
Okay.
And the one is still like a talent agent for them, and he's a talent guy. He monitors their talent. I didn't recognize that he was one of the guys that was going to be evaluating me, but he was staying in the fucking hotel that I was staying in, and that we were all staying in. And after the first workout, I get in the elevator, and it's just him to go down to the fucking 7 a.m. workout. I'm half asleep, all fucked up. My fucking quads are, I don't even know if they're there anymore. And I go, "Oh, hey, you were at the workout." And he goes, "Yeah, I was." And I go, "Cool." And he goes, "You don't know who I am?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "Oh, you're going to find out." And yeah, so like shit like that where I was just like, oh man, I should have known. Like they're very big on that. They're very big on know every single person. It's a kiss ass thing.
That's
You
a
gotta
lot. This is like a
be
corporation.
yeah, dude, it is. And that's what they bill it as and that's what they run it as. So you've got to be up these guys' asses and let them know that you're willing to suck a fart out of their ass, dude. That's what they want. That's what they're
I
there
was
for.
kind of hoping he'd have the exact same voice as your old. You don't know who I am?
You know who I am.
We're about to find out, kid.
You're gonna find it's fucking Mick from Rocky. You're gonna find out, kid. So, anyways, and then to add insult to injury, the next day I'm like, holy shit, that was the hardest workout I had ever done to this point in my life. One of the absolutely. So I remember this trick that I heard, and it's to have a lactic acid buffer in your body. What you do is you take a bunch of Alka-Seltzer. Marathon runners do it. Cyclists do it. It allows you to have endurance longer. It kills lactic acid, which is what builds up in your muscles that causes fatigue. So I'm like, the biggest problem that I had was fatigue for this workout. I was like, I'm just getting so fatigued, and everybody does. But I'm like, how can I? And I remember hearing this that if you take like 12 Alka-Seltzer, it'll literally like help you with endurance, and it's been proven.
Sounds like a bad idea,
dude. But I'm like, I'm doing it because I want to be the best I can be. I want this to work out. And I go and I buy them from Walgreens before the workout the next day. And I literally fucking rifle 12 of them in a fucking shaker bottle, right? And then I get the box is still on my fucking passenger seat. And I look over, and I'm driving, I look over, and it's the fucking nighttime Alka-Seltzer, dude. And I'm like,
are you fucking serious?
Oh,
are you serious?
Ass. Dude, dead ass. I'm like, oh, fuck. And, dude, and I start freaking out, and I got these caffeine pills, and I'm like,
oh, that's going to help. So now you're the hardest workout ever, and your heart is going down while you're jamming it up.
Dude, just rifling caffeine pills. And let me tell you, I thought it worked out until we were doing, like, sleeper holds. And like I was just passed out in the corner of the ring, and they're like, "That's pretty good." And I'm like, "I'm actually out." No, the whole workout I was fucked up, dude. I ended up throwing up more than I did the first day, and it was just gross. And it was a problem. And I think that those two things were probably why I didn't. At the end of it, they were like, "Hey, we like you. If you can go and wrestle at an independent for like the next 6 months." We will bring you back, and if you can show that you got better at wrestling, we like your look, we like your build, we think you can be somebody, but you just got to learn a little bit more about wrestling and be a fan of it. And but at that time, I was deciding between that and rugby and like what I wanted to do, and then I'm like,
were you ever a fan of wrestling to begin with?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I
Okay.
was big. I kind of lost it after the Attitude Era. I was just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what are they gonna, what are they doing now? I don't
Right.
fucking like it. I'm not a
So
fan. Like, it's okay.
what was the kind of the like so you actually had to do wrestling having no experience wrestling.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And was it like actual moves or was it like body or like or how can you take a fall? Was it like what was
Yep.
it?
Bumps are huge. They do the they do the they teach you how to take a bump, which is brutal, which you're just slamming your head. That dude, this is the other thing I realized during that workout too. I had slammed my head against a piece of plywood probably 500 times in that weekend, just of all the drills we were doing. And you're like, oh, this was worse than what I had from playing rugby for 4 weeks. It was like the trauma on your head is you're constantly using your head and your neck at wrestling. That's why a lot of guys get fucked up after wrestling too. I almost think it's worse. So
Wow.
they do that. They teach you how to take a bump. They teach you how to do like roll techniques and like flip bumps, and they teach you how to hit the ropes, and that is fucking brutal, dude. I was bleeding. My literal lat was bleeding after the second workout because it just digs into your shit until
Did you
you almost build callus on your side for the rope.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unreal. Did you have a wrestling name?
Oh yeah.
What was your wrestling name?
Dude, it was Hard Knocks. How terrible is that? I was like,
Oh,
oh
that's a
yeah.
good start, dude.
I
I
was like,
love that. I
they're
love
gonna
that.
love this. And
Hard knocks.
dude, I
Oh, you're
walked
gonna
up
go
there.
far, kid.
Dude, they did. They made us do promos. We had to cut like a 30-second promo.
Fuck yes. That was my next question.
Let me see.
Yes.
Let
Do
me
you
see if
have
I
that
can.
promo?
Dude, I'm gonna think about it right now. I think I walked up and I was like, "It's like my name is Hard Knocks." I hope no, bro. I hope no one's watching this. I
Oh,
mean, not
we got people watching still.
really.
Oh
Fucking
yeah.
A. Tell them to cut out after no. Uh,
This is probably the promo clip I'm gonna use too.
dude, it was like, my name's Hard Knocks and I'm from Buffalo, New York, the greatest city in the world. That's what I said. And right then they were probably like, oh fuck this guy. And but I had that strong like Bills fucking mojo flowing through my body. So I was like, I'm from the greatest city in the world. I said, I'm big, I'm strong, I'm lean, I'm clean. I'm like nothing you've ever seen. And I fucking said it like that, right? And I was into it, man. I was trying to be big sexy, but I was just like fucking into it.
The camera guy's just laughing behind the
The
camera.
camera
Like,
guy's
all
like
right.
shitting his pants laughing. Like, this is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. This fucking asshole.
Oh God.
I can't remember the rest of it, but I remember that was the opening line. And I ran that by a bunch of dudes who were already wrestlers. They were independent wrestlers. I just busted it out on them one day. And I did that. I did those few lines with like confidence. And they were like, yo, that's good. So I did that. And then I added a few things onto it.
Did they
But
record it and let you keep it? Like do you have
oh,
it? Do you have
no,
the
dude.
tape?
If I could have that, I would. Oof.
God,
Man,
that would be
be.
fucking great.
Dude, I would. Yeah, I would use that. But I don't. I do have the fucking the talent show from the documentary,
Okay. Yeah.
which I don't know if I can release, but it was one of my favorite things I'd ever done in my life. It might have been it might have honestly been the most I've ever the most laughs I've ever gotten.
It still
Fuck.
sounds less hilarious to me than seeing you kind of like a
Oh, the
wrestling
promo was yeah, it's like a pure comedy sense. The promo, was gold if you could watch it. So,
Oh, God, I love it.
yeah.
Fuck yeah. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's
It's
quite
my
a story.
fucking life, dude. Yeah,
And now you're in comedy. I like to think that that's the universe saying, like, all right, maybe you shouldn't use your body like this. Maybe you should use your body in a different way.
Dude, that's what I've been telling myself because it's just like, and then you go, well, why? What was next? So I'm like, well, I'm gonna move down to Nashville. I'm gonna fail at music and then just start to do comedy. It's like it's
Are
a
you trying to
matter
play
of like,
music too?
no, I never try to play music,
Okay.
but I will say that I did just for the first time in Nashville. This is crazy that this just happened because before we started this, I said that I live with two roommates that are musicians, and
Right.
I love them, great
Right.
dudes. They're always fucking playing music, and when you're self quarantining in Nashville, Tennessee, with musicians, it's like you're testing the fucking limits. But after I said that, I walked downstairs to smoke a bowl with my fucking roommate. We got high as hell, and he's like, "Bro, start to sing into this," and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, yeah." It really was just me being jealous that they can sing, and it took him being like, "Yo, do this," and then I'm like, "Yes, now I can do this." And I did it, and I'm on the one song now because they did like a vocal mash of like a bunch of different voices, and they're like, "Get on this shit." Now I'm like in, dude. Now I'm gonna be fucking singing, I think.
Dude, that's the backup plan. If comedy doesn't
Nah,
work
dude,
out, you can just be a
it's so
musician.
no fucking way. But it was hilarious that I had that conversation with you before I went down there, and I'm thinking in my head, I am such a hypocrite. The whole time I'm belting, dude. I'm belting. I'm giving the microphone everything that I have. It's literally the microphone's Jeff Quinn, Rex Ryan. It's Buffalo. The mic is
'Cause
Buffalo
you're
to me.
my lady.
Oh fuck, dude. That's literally what it was. And I so that's it, man. That's the life. That's really all I got, dude.
That's wild, dude. I'm glad you stopped in to share it with us. That's fucking nuts, dude. Now, do you think that you'll ever go back? Like, do you ever have a desire now at 30 to have to get back in that shape again and then try and go back out there?
Well, I try to stay in shape, man. It's the weird part of like, working out is part of your identity. Anyone that works out will tell you that. Even especially when you play sports, it's a big part of your identity, and it always makes you feel good. So I do it. I don't have a reason to work out anymore.
Yeah,
like
but
I said this,
work out as in like get in football shape. Workout.
Oh, if someone was like, hey, the Buffalo Bills want to make good on the fact that they fucked you over for a guy from an Arnold Schwarzenegger character, and you had to deal with all of the comments. You had to deal with a fucking list of people just being like he was terminated, and I think about it at night still. If someone was like, you poor bastard, let's give you one more shot, I would be in the best shape of my life with probably old man strength because now I'm 30.
True.
And I would be out there with Grays just fucking people up, And I would do it in a heartbeat. For the Bills, yes. Probably for any NFL team.
You can still hit as hard as them, you think?
I think if I trained properly again for like another few months, I would be I could be in as good a shape as I've ever been in my life. Yeah, I do. Well, I have to consider the fact that for the last 2 years I've been doing stand up,
which is not good on the body.
But but no, not at all. But I do think if I cut everything out, I would still be able to. I'd still be able to play.
Yeah.
I don't think that goes away. There's fucking guys playing till they're 40 nowadays. If you take care of your body, like physically, and I still train. Yes, do I drink a little bit? Sure. Have I been smoking a little bit of pot? Yeah. It's decriminalized now in the NFL, which is awesome.
Do you eat tomatoes?
I don't, because I don't like them that
for
much.
Inflammation.
Yeah, I don't like tomatoes, but I fuck with like good healthy food, and I take care of my body when I can. If someone was like, get in the best shape of your life, can you be what you were when you were 25 right now? I believe I could. I do. Yeah.
Wow.
1,000%. So.
Wow. I would love to get there. I would love to get to where I was at 18.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's
because that's when I stopped trying. After high school football, I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm gonna get high all the time, all the time.
Yeah, that's what it was like for me.
Yeah. So. Well, cool. Well, Corey, if people want to find more about you and follow you, I have your Instagram handle up here. Is there anything else you want?
I mean, no, man. I think that's just about it. I think I'm not on TikTok yet. I mean, it's desperate. I don't even think I'm gonna go to TikTok. I think I'm gonna go right to. I'm going right to OnlyFans.
To OnlyFans.
TBA. That's literally.
Wait, fans only like the
fans
porn
only,
site?
Whatever it is, OnlyFans fans. I can't ever tell what it is, but
you
whatever
don't even
it
know
is,
your own business plan.
I had a couple of friends of mine who happen to be gay. They're awesome, dude. They're just like, "Oh, you would make tons of money," and I'm just like, "Ah, fuck, man. I think it might be what I do."
Yeah, just get some quarantine money. Jack off on a camera,
dude. Whatever.
You could probably make the cost of the camera back and the cleaning supplies back in at least one maybe half a day.
these are the markets of the future that people aren't realizing. You know what I mean? Because it's all over. We're done. Everyone knows that.
Well, Corey, thank you very much for
Nah,
swinging
dude.
in.
Thank you.
I hope you have a safe quarantine out there.
You too, man.
Wash
I
those
know
hands. It's gross down there. And
it's gross. Tennessee's fucked up.
yeah. You
Yeah.
got a nice tornado that came through and
Oh,
blew
dude.
the coronavirus all around.
Absolutely. Between the coronavirus and this, I've been using the roll and just putting it up my ass and rotating it. And that's how I clean. That's literally what we're working with here. There's no toilet paper. There's nothing. And it's kind of a red state, so there's still people that are just like, it's fine. And I'm just like, nah, it's not.
No, not really.
It's not. But no, dude, I appreciate you having me, and I look forward to when all this is over, hopefully getting to Colorado and doing some shows and having you back here and having you on some of our shows. And you're fucking great, dude. So
I can't wait to come back to Nashville. It was so fun.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. So, all right, my man. Well, you stay safe. Wash those hands.
You
Bathe
too, brother.
yourself in some hand sanitizer.
I'm gonna do it, and lotion.
That's
and
right.
Hand lotion. So
yeah.
all right, man.
buddy. We'll see you soon.
Take
care, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And there he was, everybody. Corey Knox. Hell yeah. What a conversation, man. What a fucking ride. What a ride he's been on, man. That's nuts. Good for him for sticking it through. And, I think he's got a good